Apocalypse. This is how you can stock up on the greatest beauties. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 126 Xiaopan's friendship level breaks through 80. As night fell, Liu Wangxi put a lot of thought into making a total of 8 dishes and 1 soup: fried pork with chili pepper, spicy crab, stir-fried yellow beef, squirrel fish, Yangzhou lion head, wensi tofu, nourishing chicken soup, and a pot of fish porridge. No wonder it is said that real food has both color, flavor and taste. I asked Qin Yumei and the others to cook a few meals before. Let's not talk about the taste, but it just looks several levels worse than Liu Wangxi's dishes. For example, if Qin Yumei and the others are asked to cook a fish, it will already be minced when it comes out of the pot, can be eaten, but the fish made by Liu Wangxi is very beautiful on the plate, which is very pleasing to the eye. Even before eating, Li Xialuo sat at the main seat of the dining table, and then sisters Shen Miao sat on both sides of him, but there was one more person at the dining table today, and that was Xiaopan. Li Xialuo takes talent seriously. Then a few people started to eat and taste the dishes. Li Xialuo likes spicy food, so he ate a few dishes first. And they all tasted very good. It's even more delicious than the meal he ordered before the end of the world. In fact, Liu Wangxi's real strength is still reflected in the dishes such as squirrel fish, Yangzhou lion head, and wensi tofu, especially the wensi tofu dish at the end. Although the ingredients are very simple and cheap, it is just made of soft tofu cut into thin strips with a knife, and then cooked with some fresh soup. But it's not easy for ordinary chefs to make this dish well, and they can't even master it after all. If you want to cut tofu into pieces as thin as the eye of a needle, you can't do this without talent and hard work. Liu Wangxi did not work as a chef before her death, but she had a good talent for cooking. She had been trained by her father for more than 10 years since she was a child, and her cooking skills could be said to be very superb anyway. Li Xiaoluo and Shen Miao were full of praise for their food, especially the squirrel fish and Yangzhou lion head dishes. Even though Li Xiaoluo liked spicy food, they both thought they were very good, and Shen Miao and the others like to eat these sweet and sour dishes, and they find them extremely delicious. As for little Panpan, she was drinking fish porridge and nourishing chicken soup when she was in that shopping mall. She basically didn't eat a few decent meals, and she was starved for more than a day later. She couldn't overeat now, but even if it was just fish porridge, Zhang Panpan almost cried. Zhang Panpan's family conditions before the apocalypse were average, so she was easy to support, but after the apocalypse she was even more starved. Now that she can eat hot and delicious fish porridge, she is so happy. Seeing that Li Xiaoluo and the others were very satisfied with their meal, Liu Wangxi also had a smile on her face. Only then did Liu Wangxi realize how reasonable her father's words were when he forced her to practice her cooking skills. She might be able to put her skills to use someday. If she hadn't said she knew how to cook when she was in the mall, she might not even be able to come here, let alone live in Villa number 1. After Li Xiaoluo and the others finished eating, Liu Wangxi and the others began to clean up, and then they began to eat in the kitchen. While Liu Wangxi and the others were eating, Zhang Panpan came in a wheelchair to look for Liu Wangxi. Teacher. Liu, Sister May, is this all you eat? In the kitchen, Liu Wangxi and Qin Yumei were eating, but the food they ate only had a little green vegetables, and a little bit of leftover food from Li Xiaoluo and the others. Qin Yumei looked at Xiaopan with a smile and said, "Isn't our food good? Go check online and see how many people can still eat steaming rice and stir-fried vegetables." Liu Wangxi was sipping her porridge in small sips. She was relatively weak now and needed to take good care of herself, and her face was also full of satisfaction. People who were scared of hunger could now have these foods to eat, and she was truly satisfied. Sister May, that's not what I meant. I don't think these foods are bad. I just think you can only eat these foods, but I eat them so well. In fact, Zhang Panpan really didn't think that what they were eating was not good. Zhang Panpan did not come from a very wealthy family before the apocalypse. After the apocalypse, she even experienced days when there was no food at all, so she could endure hardships. She just felt that she was a burden and could not help her elder brother at all. Unlike Teacher Liu and Sister May, one of them is a nurse and the other is a chef who cooks delicious food and is much more useful than her, but Teacher Liu and Sister May's food was far worse than hers, and Zhang Panpan felt uncomfortable all over. Silly girl, this is your good luck. You have met a noble person, So don't feel any burden. Just repay the Lord well when you have the opportunity in the future. Liu Wuxi and Xiao Panpan have known each other for a long time. She is also her teacher, so she naturally knows Xiao Panpan's character. Little Panpan has a somewhat introverted personality and never wants to trouble others. In the past, when Liu Wuxi took her to the supermarket to buy things, she didn't dare to buy the things she liked. Now that he is suddenly receiving so much attention, Little Panpan must be feeling a little anxious. Liu Wuxi looked at Little Panpan seriously and said, "Little Panpan, don't worry, the Lord is really good to you. When we were cooking before, the Lord also specifically asked me to make fish porridge and chicken soup for you. Saying these foods can help you get well as soon as possible." Ken Yumei also said with envy, "Yes, except for Mrs. Maya Omeo, I have never seen the Lord treat anyone so well." System. Prompt: Zhang Panpan has become attached to the host. Her friendliness is +5, and her current friendliness towards the host is 83. In the master bedroom on the second floor, Li Xiaoluo was originally planning to do something he loved with Shen Maya Omeo. After all, with the weather like this and no social activities, he could only play more human-making games with Shen Maya Omeo. But the sudden sound of the system prompt made Li Xiaoluo pause for a moment while his hands were messing with Shen Maya Omeo's plump body. Shen Maya Omeo also woke up from her confusion and infatuation, and immediately found the opportunity to leave Li Xiaoluo's arms with difficulty. "Brother Xialuo, it's still early, I'll go see Yanyan first." As the delicious food in her mouth escaped, Li Xiaoluo had no intention of catching her back for the time being. At this time, Li Xiaoluo was still surprised. Why did the friendliness of this little Panpan suddenly increase again, and he also broke through the 80 threshold in one fell swoop? However, this is definitely great news for Li Xiaoluo. This means that he can sign a contract with Xiao Panpan, and the teleportation power he has longed for will be available soon. That's why Shen Maya Omeo was able to easily escape from his clutches just now, but now she is the first person to awaken her powers, which makes her even more attractive to Li Xiaoluo. Li Xiaoluo couldn't wait to walk out of the bedroom, and then found Xiao Panpan. After paying a lollipop, Li Xiaoluo successfully signed a contract with Xiao Panpan. Chapter 127: Activating Teleportation Abilities and Rewards for Shen Maya Omeo. After signing the contract with Xiao Panpan, Li Xiaoluo did not hesitate and directly used this Hansun card on Xiao Panpan. Ding! Congratulations to the host, you have copied Zhang Panpan's teleportation talent. Wow! Haha, good luck, I got into the soul immediately. System, luck? It's not like the author wants the male protagonist to have special powers. Why are you talking about luck? Li Xiaoluo called up the system interface and took a look. The strongest shelter system in the Doomsday. Lord, Li Xiaoluo, Level 1, Lord's Mansion, Villa Number 1, Longting, 36th floor, Building A, Wutangidong Community. Innate ability, Exploring Eye, Special abilities, Space, 16,000 20,000, Teleportation, to be activated, Contracted subordinates. 3/5, Josiah Tong, Shen Maya Omeo, Zhang Panpan, Energy points. 100, Shop, Level 1. The system interface finally had some changes, especially seeing the addition of the teleportation ability. Lee Charlotte couldn't help but be excited. System, activate teleportation ability. Received, 100 energy points are required to activate the ability. Does the host confirm that 100 energy points will be deducted? Confirm, Li Xiaoluo did not hesitate or feel reluctant to part with it. Anyway, these energy points were originally rewarded by the system. Moreover, 100 energy points can't be used to do other big things at all. It is the most cost-effective to use them to activate abilities. As Li Xiaoluo's confirmation voice fell, Li Xiaoluo suddenly felt a tingling sensation in his mind, as if something was taking root and sprouting in his head. In the previous life, Li Xiaoluo was not a person with superpowers, so he naturally didn't know that awakening superpowers had to go through pain. Fortunately, the pain was bearable and had no tendency to get worse, so Li Xiaoluo didn't worry too much, but carefully felt the changes in his body. After about 5 minutes, the pain in Li Xiaoluo's head disappeared, but he could feel that he seemed to understand something naturally, Li Xiaoluo thought. And then he suddenly appeared on the roof of number 88 Longting Villa, but the next second, Li Xiaoluo knew that he was stupid, because he was still wearing thin clothes, so Li Xiaoluo teleported back to the villa almost instantly. But using the teleportation ability twice in a row made Li Xiaoluo feel that his white source ball was a bit consumed. It turns out that after Li Charlotte awakened her teleportation power, A transparent energy ball the size of a sesame seed was formed in her mind. This energy ball contained the source power that allowed Lee Charlotte to use her teleportation power. According to Lee Xiaoluo's knowledge, the maximum straight line distance he can move instantly is about 500 meters, and if you are an ordinary person, you may be able to teleport once or twice when you first awaken your superpower, and the source power of the energy ball will be almost consumed. But Lee Xiaoluo has been strengthened by the system, and the source of power in his energy ball will be more, which can allow him to teleport at least 5 or 6 times. Of course, after the source power in the energy ball is consumed, there is no way to continue to use the power for the time being. However, of course, it does not mean that it will never be usable. In fact, just like when people do a lot of exercise and exhaust their physical strength, there are 2 ways to recover. The first is to let it recover naturally, but this will be slower, especially if you are still in battle and the superpower has no superpower. He will be the same as ordinary people. Second, just like magicians in the game need magic potions to restore their magic power, the same goes for superpowers. The crystals that will appear in the future can not only be used to increase the level of superpowers, but the energy absorbed in the crystals can also be used to recover. This is also the reason why crystals will be very precious in the future. Lee Xiaoluo has been studying the teleportation ability he just obtained for a long time, and his face is full of excitement. I don't say whether there will be any power that can restrain the teleportation ability in the future, but at least at this stage, he is absolutely invincible and no one can hurt him. Shen Miao had returned to the room from her sister for a while. She had already changed into silk pajamas and saw that Lee Xiaoluo had been thinking about something, so she did not disturb Lee Xiaoluo. Shen Miao just looked at Lee Xiaoluo with affectionate eyes, her face full of happiness. Although they have only been together for a few days, Shen Miao's dependence on Lee Xiaoluo is getting deeper and deeper, especially since Lee Xiaoluo is really kind and important to her, which makes her really happy in this apocalypse. But thinking of happiness, Shen Miao's face suddenly turned red, and she didn't know what scene she was thinking of at this time. Lee Xiaoluo had already studied the power he had just obtained, and then saw Shen Miao, whose face was red and looked particularly attractive. Miao, come here. I went out today and brought you some gifts. Lee Xiaoluo was already in a good mood, but now that he saw the beautiful Shen Miao, he naturally wanted to do something happier. It can be regarded as a reward for Shen Miao, and there are gifts? Thank you, Brother Xialuo. Shen Miao showed a happy look on her face, and then walked to Lee Xialuo with 2 slender legs. In fact, she doesn't lack anything now and doesn't care about gifts, but Lee Xialuo still wants to bring her a gift when she goes out. Of course she is very touched and happy. Lee Xiaoluo smiled and then took out his gift from the system space. When Shen Miao saw the gift Lee Xiaoluo brought out, her already rosy face turned even redder. I'm going to take a shower first. You pick a gift. I'll check it out when I get out of the shower. After saying that, Lee Xiaoluo went to the bathroom and Shen Miao looked at the several sets of sexy underwear and stockings left by Lee Xiaoluo, and didn't know how to choose for a while. Although they are all beautiful, they are too avant-garde. Shen Miao had never come into contact with such intimate clothing, and she blushed just looking at it. However, Lee Xiaoluo had arranged a task, and Shen Miao didn't dare not complete it, otherwise he wouldn't know how Brother Xiaoluo would take care of him. Shen Miao blushed and chose a set of white underwear and stockings. She thought that if she wore them, her skin would definitely look whiter. Brother Charlotte will probably like it. After putting on her clothes with a blushing face, Shen Miao put the remaining gifts from Lee Xiaoluo into the closet. Lee Xiaoluo always took a shower very quickly. When he returned to the room, he saw a beautiful white figure, tall and sexy, and against a backdrop of white clothes, her exposed skin is really white. Hey, Brother Charlotte, you have finished taking a shower? Shen Miao, who was arranging her clothes, didn't hear the sound, but suddenly felt someone sticking behind her, and then hugged her slender waist. Although she was startled, Shen Miao knew who it was without looking, and quickly calmed down. However, her blushing face and trembling body seemed to betray her. Chapter 128, Giving Birth to a Child in the Apocalypse? Let nature take its course. The night is endless, and the night in the apocalypse no longer has the bright lights before the apocalypse. But inside Lee Xiaoluo's villa, it was a different scene. At least it wasn't completely dark. The lights in the entire villa were turned off. Lights represent hope. Shen Miao put her hands on the window and looked at the snowy scenery outside through the lights in the house. Although the night view outside is a bit monotonous, they can still see it at this time now elsewhere outside. At night, Everything must be dark. Li Xiaoluo looked at Shen Miao's beautiful side face and flawless body, which were extremely alluring under the night. Miao, our future children will be so lucky, brother. Charlotte, can we really have a baby? Shen Miao, who was originally blushing, suddenly had a glimmer of light in his eyes. They say that if a woman is willing to give you a child, it at least means that she loves you. On the contrary, Shen Miao has always been her wish to have a child for the man she loves, but now is the end, and Shen Miao thinks that her idea may never be realized. Because many adults can't survive now, let alone children, there will be. Maybe we are shouldering the great mission of humankind's continuation. Besides, the granary you prepared for your children is so big. If our children don't use it, wouldn't it be a waste? Shen Miao's face turned crimson, and she didn't know whether it was because of Li Xiaoluo's words or because of something else. Then, Li Xiaoluo concluded, so, Miao, we have to work harder in the future. Omit 12,089 words, crash, deleted everything, omit. Before the end of the world, Shen Miao was still a beautiful school beauty. Originally, having a baby seemed to be quite far away for her. Although Shen Miao is very beautiful, she always thought that she was just an ordinary woman before the end of the world. Like ordinary women, she will graduate from college, then work, and when she matures, she will get married and have children. However, after the end of the world came, Shen Miao suddenly grew up due to what he experienced. Therefore, Shen Miao will not refuse to have a baby. In fact, Li Xiaoluo could feel that Shen Miao was particularly excited after he joked about having a baby. In fact, Li Xiaoluo is not as enthusiastic as Shen Miao about having children. What he values is to let nature take its course. If you have it, give birth to it. If you don't have it, it doesn't matter. As for whether the children born after this apocalypse can be fed and grow up safely, this is not a problem at all for Li Charlotte. If even he can't survive in this end of the world, then human civilization may be almost extinct. Looking at Shen Miao who was sleeping with a tired look on his face, Li Xiaoluo smiled bitterly. In fact, men are most afraid of others saying they can't do it, but sometimes it's too good and it seems to be a bit troublesome. But fortunately, in this apocalyptic world, Li Xiaoluo definitely has no shortage of women. For example, in villain number 1, there are the sexy Queen Qin Yumei, the noble and elegant Xiao Min, and the artistic Liu Wangxi. Although they have different temperaments, these women are different, but they also have many similar characteristics. That is, they have fair skin, good looks, long legs, and a curvy figure. Although the relationship between Li Xiaoluo and them has not reached that stage yet, as long as Li Xiaoluo wants to, they cannot refuse, and they may even be prepared in their hearts. But Li Xiaoluo is not a creature who thinks in the lower body after all. These women living in villain number 1 will be his real team members and core members of the team from now on, so it's better to take your time. As for now, Li Xiaoluo thought for a moment, and it seemed that he hadn't gone to see Josiah Tong for several days, so he might as well go and have a look now. Arriving at the study room of the villa, Li Xiaoluo activated a portal and returned to Lord number 36's mansion in an instant. Woo! The moment Li Xiaoluo appeared, the general who was warming up to the corn immediately became alert and then made a whining sound. But before the general could bark, it immediately smelled the scent of its owner, Li Xiaoluo. Then the general swallowed his cry and ran towards Li Xiaoluo, wagging his tail happily. Although the general looks tall and thick, his loyalty is definitely unshakable. Moreover, Li Xiaoluo has always been very kind to the general, and the food and drinks are the best. This makes the general recognize Li Xiaoluo as his master even more. I haven't seen Li Xiaoluo for so long, so naturally I am very enthusiastic. Okay, I'll take you out to play tomorrow. Now go accompany your corn. I also want to accompany my woman. Li Xiaoluo touched the head of the enthusiastic general, and then drove him back to the kennel. Everyone is male. Why are you so enthusiastic, General? I am not a human, but you are a real dog. Li Xiaoluo came to the bedroom, and the room was dark. In fact, although Li Xiaoluo has electricity at home, Josiah Twang turns off the lights early every night because all the buildings outside now have no electricity. It is pitch dark at night. If she keeps the light on at night, she will be like a firefly in the dark, and it will be impossible for others to notice her. Although Li Xiaoluo told her that the house at home was very strong and difficult for survivors to break into, it was annoying to be disturbed every day. So Josiah Tong simply goes to bed early at night, or simply doesn't turn on the light. This way you won't be out of tune with your surroundings. Li Xiaoluo did not turn on the light. He quickly came to the big bed with the light of his mobile phone because the temperature in the room is very high. Josiah Tong wears sexy pajamas and a small blanket when sleeping at this time. Josiah Tong's large fair skin was exposed like a sleeping beauty at this moment. Josiah Tong seemed to wake up on the bed, and then exclaimed, "Who, Lee?" Xialuo rushed forward to suppress Josiah Tong, deliberately changing his voice and saying in a low voice, "You robber, don't move. Just cooperate and I won't hurt you. Otherwise, be careful as I scratch your pretty face, Joe." Xialuo Tong subconsciously wanted to struggle, but suddenly, a smile appeared on her face in the darkness. "Who are you?" My outside door is locked." "You, how did you get in?" "Please don't hurt me, I'll give you whatever you want." There was fear in Josiah Tong's voice, as if she was afraid of being hurt. "Hey, I don't want anything, I just want your people. I heard that you are very beautiful and have a good figure. Then play with me and serve me well, then I will let you go, Joe." Xialuo Tong suddenly stretched out his hands and hugged Li Xiaoluo's neck. "People. No, don't worry, I will definitely satisfy you, Li." Charlotte was stunned for a moment. Are these girls so cooperative? But Li Xiaoluo quickly realized that even though it was dark inside the house and couldn't see, Josiah Tong might have known it was him. Be serious? They are robbing someone. My dear boss, I am very serious. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelists. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 129, The Henpecked General. The night was endless. Not long after Li Xiaoluo entered the bedroom, the general who was outside the bedroom was immediately awakened by a sound, but after listening for a while, he laid down again. It means that I have heard this sound too much before and have already become accustomed to it. However, the general, who had been woken up several times in a row, seemed to have lost his sleep all of a sudden in the darkness. The general stared at the dog's eyes, asking him to trouble the misbehaving owner. The general felt that it was unnecessary after all. The new shit sweeper was very nice to it. He gave it good food and drink, and even found him a beautiful BCH, so it's forgivable that the poop scraper sometimes disturbs its sleep. And when the general thought of the beautiful wife his master had found for him, the general suddenly became excited. Then the dog face glanced at the sleeping corn, and then quietly and slowly moved towards the corn wife. "Don't sleep, Uncle Dog is here to take care of you." The sleeping corn was woken up by the general, and what came into view was the general's dark dog face. Bang! 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 Corn slapped him with his dog's paws a few times without any courtesy. He was upset when he saw the general's ugly face. Although he has been shamed by the general these days and successfully breached the fortress with both soft and hard tactics, Corn still doesn't like to see the general. The general was stunned for a while before he came to his senses. Then he immediately stuck out his tongue, licked the dog's face and continued to laugh and apology. It doesn't dare to really make the corn unhappy, but privately, the general felt miserable. Sure enough, the old dog senior was right. When looking for a wife, you can't look for a good-looking wife. The good-looking ones have a bad temper. 1106 words omitted. Boss, why are you back so late today? And, Joe. Xialuo Tong didn't have the nerve to say the next words. Li Xiaoluo smiled and said, "The things over there were almost settled, and then I missed you, so I came back to see you, Joe." Xialuo Tong smiled happily. "Boss, I miss you so much, Joe." Xialuo Tong didn't ask much about what Li Xiaoluo had been doing these days. She could clearly place her own position. As long as Li Xiaoluo can return safely, she will be satisfied. By the way, has anyone come to our place to cause trouble these days while I'm away, Joe? Xialuo Tong immediately replied, "Yes, people have come outside our house from time to time these days, breaking down the door and threatening us, but I have ignored them." Li Xiaoluo said, "Why don't you use high-pressure water cannons to deal with them? There is no reason to explain after the end of the world. Only by using high-pressure water cannons to hurt them will they not dare to come, Joe." Xialuo Tong smiled bitterly. "Those people may know that we have installed high-pressure water cannons, so when they came to break down the door the first 2 times, they prepared waterproof measures. Later, they saw that our door couldn't be opened at all, so they just came up and threatened us verbally. When they threatened, they only hid in the stairwell and shouted, and no one came close at all." Li Xiaoluo nodded. This was actually not surprising, since he knew there was a high-pressure water gun in his house. As long as you are not a fool, You cannot come here and die in vain without preparation, and the disadvantage of high-pressure water guns is that they cannot be carried with you at all as long as they didn't enter the corridor on the 36th floor. Josiah Tong had nothing to do with them. Li Xiaoluo asked, "What did they threaten, Zhou?" Xiaoluo Tong replied softly, "They said that the people downstairs established an organization called Alliance A, and then all the survivors in this building will be under the jurisdiction of their Alliance A. Then each household will have to pay some food or supplies as a cash deposit protection fees. Unless you join them, you will be exempted from paying protection fees." They said that if we don't obey, they will arrange for personnel to be on the 35th floor all the time, so that we will never be able to step out of the 36th floor for the rest of our lives. After listening to Josiah Tong's words, Li Xiaoluo couldn't help but want to laugh. Are they the only ones who want to talk to him for the rest of their lives? How long will their food last? Of course, Li Xiaoluo did not expect that they would actually establish an A-League organization now. This organization called Alliance A did not appear in the previous life. However, the name of this organization is still easy to understand. Li Xiaoluo's building is Building A, so Alliance A means that everyone in Building A has united. However, the so-called alliance after the end of the world must be decided by a small group of people in the post-apocalyptic world. It will be difficult to have any truly democratic force team, and if these people are really allowed to collect the food in the entire building. Maybe some people can really survive to the second stage of natural disaster, or even survive to the third stage of natural disaster. After all, no matter what organization it is after the end of the world, when food is insufficient, it will definitely only be able to give priority to the small group of people in the pyramid. As for other people, they might even become reserve food at this time. Li Xiaoluo also figured out a previous question. Just 2 or 3 days ago, Li Xiaoluo found that the owner's group here suddenly became very quiet. No one cries for help in the group anymore, and no one sends various messages in the group now. Li Xiaoluo knows the reason, because let's not talk about whether everyone in the entire building is controlled by Alliance A. Even if there are still some people who are not controlled, they definitely don't dare to talk randomly in the group. What if it attracts the attention of Alliance A and comes to trouble them? It's just like before the end of the world. People don't just say whatever they want on the internet. After having a general understanding of the situation here, Li Xiaoluo hugged Josiah Tong and went to sleep. As for other things, we will naturally discuss them tomorrow. Of course, Li Xiaoluo came here not just to applaud Josiah Tong for love. He also wanted to come over to see if Su Xiu and the others were dead. They have been given a good experience of the end of the world. If they are not dead yet, then Li Xiaoluo should help them. And now that he knows that someone has established a power in his territory and wants to cause trouble for him, Li Xiaoluo will naturally not tolerate it. Just like at Longting Villa, it's time to clean up all those annoying flies. In the past, it might have been a little bit dangerous for Li Xiaoluo to deal with the survivors in the building, but now Li Xiaoluo not only has a gun, but also has the ability to teleport. No matter how many ordinary survivors there are now, it will be very difficult to pose a threat to him, so there is no need for Li Xiaoluo to be cautious now, and he can go out and do what he wants to do without any worries. Chapter 130. Alliance came to seek death early in the morning. In the early morning, Josiah Tong slowly opened his eyes and looked at Li Xiaoluo, who was still sleeping soundly. A happy look appeared on Josiah Tong's face with Li Xiaoluo by her side. She slept peacefully last night, and being able to open her eyes and see Li Xiaoluo next to her is the happiest thing for her now. Josiah Tong was not in a hurry to get up, and just lay quietly on Li Xiaoluo's body, enjoying the beautiful morning time. But this good feeling didn't last long. There was a sound of horns outside the room. Li Xiaoluo, how long are you going to be a coward? Li Xiaoluo, surrender quickly. It's hard for you to fly on the 36th floor. Our alliance leader said that as long as you take the initiative to surrender now, we will give you preferential treatment. Li Xiaoluo, we advise you not to be stubborn. Sooner or later, you will not be able to hold on. If you surrender at that time, we cannot guarantee what will happen. Li Xiaoluo, who was sleeping soundly, was suddenly awakened by a noise and glanced at Josiah Tong, who was nestled in his arms. Li Xiaoluo frowned and said, "These guys come here at this time every day, Joe." Josiah Tong shook his head and said, "The time they come here is not fixed, sometimes in the morning, sometimes in the evening, but basically they come up to shout once a day." Although Josiah Tong is still calm, there must still be some worry on her face. After all, they live on the top floor. Although the house is very sturdy, it seems to be really difficult to go downstairs or leave the building in the future. Of course, The reason why Josiah Tong is only a little worried is because she knows that her boss is not an ordinary person. The boss knew about the situation yesterday, but he didn't look worried. Josiah Tong believed that Li Xiaoluo must have a way to solve it. Li Xiaoluo smiled after hearing Josiah Tong's words. It was interesting. Over at Longting Villa, he was used to his people calling for others to surrender every time unexpectedly. This time I would experience the feeling of being threatened by others again, but don't worry. Li Xiaoluo came here this time to take revenge and at the same time clean up the building where he lived. This way no one can easily bother him in the future. After lying on the bed with Josiah Tong for a while, Li Xiaoluo and Josiah Tong got up and washed up and went to the living room. When the general and Korn saw Li Xiaoluo, they walked around him happily and were very happy. Li Xiaoluo did not let Josiah Tong make breakfast, but directly took out a large table of ready-made delicacies from the system space. Josiah Tong looked at the steaming food on the coffee table. She was no longer surprised. After all, she had seen it many times, but looking at the delicacies on the coffee table, including beef, seafood, and various braised dishes, it is simply so luxurious. Josiah Tong said speechlessly, "Boss, is our breakfast a little too exaggerated?" Li Xiaoluo was taking out some chicken legs and beef from the system space to give the general and the others a snack. The general and the Korn kept wagging their tails happily. It's better if the man is at home. There's something delicious. When Li Xiaoluo was not at home, Josiah Tong did not have high requirements for food, and only had 1 or 2 dishes for each meal, and sometimes in order to stay in shape, there is not even a meat dish. General and Korn followed Josiah Tong, sometimes eating dog food or white rice with vegetables. Compared with the standard of food that Li Xiaoluo had at home, it was simply the difference between heaven and earth. Eat. Li Xiaoluo ordered. You're welcome, General and Korn, and they're all working hard. Li Xiaoluo took his mobile phone and took a few photos of the general and the others eating. Then Li Xiaoluo sat on the sofa and smiled at Josiah Tong. There is really no need to eat so much in the morning, but I was woken up from a sweet dream early in the morning, and I felt very unhappy. Since they made me unhappy, I will make them unhappy first, and then deal with them properly. After speaking, Li Xiaoluo took a few photos of the delicacies on the coffee table, and then posted them all to the owner group of the community together with the photos of the general and the others eating. Li Xiaoluo, at everyone, why are the owners of our community so quiet recently? Are everyone living a comfortable life now? One more thing to ask you, why are some dogs barking in front of my house with horns every day these days? Have you ever encountered such a thing? This early morning has made me lose all my sweet dreams. I can only eat something to calm down the shock. As soon as the news about Li Xiaoluo was released, the survivors among the owners who could still see the news had mixed feelings. She was both envious and jealous of Li Xiaoluo, and hated her with itching teeth. The envious people are naturally the survivors who are so hungry that they are almost reduced to skin and bones. They really can't imagine why Li Xiaoluo can still live so well now. As for the people who hate him so much, in addition to those in their league, there are also people who are familiar with Li Xiaoluo, especially people like Li Xiaoyi and Su Xiu. Seeing that Li Xiaoluo was living such a good life now, but Li Xiaoluo was cruel and refused to help them, made them really wish that Li Xiaoluo would be arrested immediately by the thugs from Alliance A. In fact, the current situation of Li Xiaoluo's building is quite complicated. Although the people from Alliance A nominally control the entire building, everyone must obey the orders of Alliance A, but there is actually no harmony within the so-called A League. The man who founded Alliance A was Sun Zihao, the man who took the lead in going to Su Xiu's house to grab food. At that time, Sun Zihao didn't actually grab much food from Su Xiu's house, but he opened Pandora's box for him and showed him how to live gracefully in a disaster. So he took his people, starting from the 12th floor of Su Xiu's house, and then started collecting supplies from each household upstairs. Of course, in the beginning, Sun Zihao even united to resist him in order not to arouse strong resistance from everyone, so the methods Sun Zihao adopted were relatively mild. He just asked the survivors to hand over half of the food at home and promised not to harm them, but if anyone dares to refuse to hand over or hide food secretly, then don't blame him for being ruthless. Then, using the stolen food, Sun Zihao began to recruit more young and strong men in Sun Zihao's plan. As long as he has enough thugs, the previous survivors will not only have to hand over half of the food. From now on, their food, women, and everything else will be his. Sun Zihao's plan went very smoothly. In just 1 or 2 days, from the 12th floor to the 35th floor, basically all the residents chose to accept the management of Alliance A. So Sun Zihao planned to strike while the iron was hot and clean up the residents below the 12th floor, and then completely show his fangs. But what Sun Zihao didn't expect was that when he led his men to the 11th floor, he discovered that 11 already had a force and was doing the same thing as him after they took control of the residents on all floors below the 11th floor. They were also collecting food and recruiting thugs. The strength cannot be underestimated. Chapter 131 Li Xiaoluo recruits temporary workers. Moreover, the people in the team downstairs were very secretive, and Sun Zihao of the League had never discovered it before. When Sun Zihao led his men to the 11th floor, they were immediately ambushed and suffered a little loss after the fight. Sun Zihao learned that the leader of the group was called Zhao Xiaobing, the person who killed Wang Chenglong, and that they had had conflicts before the end. Therefore, Sun Zihao, who was ambushed by Zhao Xiaobing and suffered a loss, naturally refused to give up and immediately organized more men to kill Zhao Xiaobing and the others on the 11th floor. However, after several battles, Sun Zihao and Zhao Xiaobing both lost a lot of manpower. They knew that if they continued to fight, both sides would really suffer. Now they are all leaders of a party, controlling the life and death of dozens or hundreds of people. Naturally, they don't want to really fight like this, so after several negotiations, the two power groups finally began to shake hands and make peace, and reached the conditions for a truce. Zhao Xiaobing took everyone under him to join Alliance A nominally and came under the jurisdiction of Sun Zihao, but in fact, Zhao Xiaobing's team is still the same as before, and Alliance A can control them, and Zhao Xiaobing still controls the territory on the floors he originally controlled, be on good terms with Alliance A. So in Building A where Li Xiaoluo lives, although there is only one force on the surface, there are actually two forces, and each controls a part of the floor. Of course, in fact, there should be 4 forces in Building A. In addition to Sun Zihao and Zhao Xiaobing from the Alliance, there are also some owners who have secretly established an offensive and defensive alliance in private, and there is also Li Xiaoluo, who has always been aloof from the world. Sun Zihao's original plan was to wait until he occupied the floors below the 11th floor, and then completely enslave while the owners of the entire building finally free up your hands to deal with Li Xiaoluo, so that from now on, Building A will be completely decided by him. The strength of their A alliance will also be stronger. However, the emergence of Zhao Xiaobing's team completely disrupted Sun Zihao's plan, and the strength of Sun Zihao's A alliance not only did not become stronger, but also weakened a lot. And in this way, Sun Zihao no longer dares to rush to clean up the owners of the floors he controls. After all, if he continues to force himself, if those owners jump to the wall or join forces to resist him in private, then his men may have to pay a lot of casualties at that time, not to mention whether Zhao Xiaobing downstairs will take the opportunity to make trouble. Even his subordinates may have objections. Therefore, Sun Zihao did not rush to deal with those owners, but continued to collect protection fees. Sun Zihao believes that as long as the owners are not pushed too hard, even if those owners are bullied, some of them may even starve to death, but those people who have a little more food at home will definitely not make trouble together if they are lucky enough. As long as the owners don't unite to make trouble, it won't be a problem at all, and Sun Zihao is not worried at all. In addition, for Sun Zihao, he does not have the strength to deal with Zhao Xiaobing's group downstairs for the time being, and the owner of the floor he controls cannot deal with them for the time being. Therefore, Sun Zihao focused on Li Xiaoluo on the 36th floor. Originally, Sun Zihao wanted to leave Li Xiaoluo to deal with it until the end, but he didn't want to lose both sides with Zhao Xiaobing downstairs. And he didn't want to offend the anxious owners who had joined forces privately and no longer had much oil and water. So after much deliberation, it seems that it is best for Li Xiaoluo to deal with it, because there are only 2 people in Li Xiaoluo's family, and Li Xiaoluo has offended many people among the owners. After the apocalypse, when he takes care of Li Xiaoluo, there should be absolutely no one to help him. In fact, there will definitely be many people clapping their hands and applauding. So Sun Zihao sent people to the 35th floor to guard Li Xiaoluo, and then sent people to find trouble for Li Xiaoluo every day. Even if he couldn't open Li Xiaoluo's fortress, he could still have people shouting at him every day to add some psychological pressure to Li Xiaoluo. Sun Zihao felt that Li Xiaoluo might have a mental breakdown one day, and then he would open the door and surrender himself. But until this morning, Li Xiaoluo posted pictures of his breakfast and the breakfast of his dogs in the owner group. Only then did Sun Zihao realize that BD Li Xiaoluo, not to mention his heart was broken, was actually living a nourishing life at home. That stupid Li Xiaoluo actually prepared a table full of delicious food for just one breakfast. You know, although Sun Zihao now controls a team of hundreds of people, The owners of the floors he controls also have to provide food to him, but Sun's Hiheo's daily breakfast is just ordinary milk and bread as for meat, even if Sun's Hiheo collected food from most of the families in the building. His entire team's meat diet now is less than 3 kilograms only. When Sun's Hiheo has something happy to celebrate, would he be willing to let the chef carefully cut 2 ounces of meat to satisfy his craving? But compared to Xialuo upstairs, Sun's Hiheo really felt that he, the leader of the alliance, was too poor. Not to mention Xialuo's own food, even his dogs were fed beef and chicken legs. It was really a shock to him. Sun's Hiheo gritted his teeth in the owner group at Xialuo, I am Sun's Hiheo, the leader of Alliance A. Xialuo, I hope you understand that in this apocalypse, the government can no longer save us. We can only save ourselves by uniting ourselves. This is also the purpose of establishing Alliance A, so that everyone can share all resources and let everyone live together. Now, all the residents in our building A have joined Alliance A. Xialuo, I hope you can come out of your room and join our big family. Otherwise, everyone in the building will be your enemy. The owner group was no longer as lively as before. After Xialuo sent a message in the group, it took a while for anyone to reply. Moreover, the person who replied to Xialuo was Sun's Hiheo, the leader of Alliance A. This also made Xialuo confirm one thing. It should be that no one dared to speak in the owner group anymore for a fear of Sun's Hiheo's revenge. Maybe many owners have established another small group privately, and then exchange messages privately in the small group chat, but Xialuo didn't care. He believed that even if everyone didn't dare to speak in the owner group, they must still be secretly watching the news in the group. So Xialuo replied to Sun's Hiheo, Sun's Hiheo is the leader of Alliance A, right? In other words, you are the one who has people coming to my house to disturb me every day, Sun. Hiheo, yes, I arranged it. Xialuo, don't think that you will be fine if you build a safe house and hide in it? Now the whole building is your enemy, and you can't hide for the rest of your life. Xialuo, haha, Sun's Hiheo, you will know soon that provoking me is the biggest mistake you have ever made. Also, when did I say I would hide for the rest of my life, Sun? Hiheo, oh, who can tell lies? Xialuo, do you dare to walk out of your room? Xialuo, what am I afraid of? Sun's Hiheo, do you really think everyone in this building will listen to you? Believe it or not, as long as I am willing, I can immediately find a group of people to deal with you, Sun. Hiheo, haha, Xialuo, do you only know how to brag? Xialuo, at everyone, I need to recruit 20 young and strong men who can fight at the moment. The task is to clean up the people of Li Gay for me. Anyone who is brave is welcome to come to me on the 36th floor, for remuneration, I believe you have just seen the life of my 2 dogs. As long as you can pass my assessment, I believe the reward I will give you will not be much worse than that of my dogs, although Xialuo's words are a bit demeaning. If possible, most people in the owner group would actually want to be Xialuo's dog in this situation now. There are not many people who want to lose face. Chapter 132, A Clever Plan. Sure enough, the news that Xialuo was in the owner group had just been sent out not long ago. Immediately, many owners sent messages to Xialuo privately, or simply dragged Xialuo into some small group chats. Brother Xialuo, I am a resident living on the 29th floor. My name is Fatty. I am tall and strong. I can fight very well. Is what you said in the owner group true? Do you really want to recruit 20 people? A young man, hello. Xialuo, I am a resident living on the 22nd floor. My name is Liu Zihui, my cousin, and I were fitness instructors before the end of the world. The former Sun's Hiheo didn't dare to let his people provoke our brothers. As long as you can really give me the food that the 2 dogs in the photo you sent are eating, and we will work hard for you. Xialuo, I am very strong and I am willing to do things with you, but can you let me have a full meal first? I am too hungry. Xialuo looked at the messages sent by many people on his mobile phone. Naturally, Xialuo was too lazy to reply to them all. Li directly responded to the owner group, the news about recruiting 20 young and strong thugs, temporary workers, is true and valid. Anyone who is interested can come directly to the 36th floor. In fact, the reason why Xialuo did this was a little trick he made casually. Xialuo wanted to use food temptation to make some people come to him. Maybe more people from Li Gay will come up. At that time, Xialuo will directly control them as cannon fodder, and then go to deal with Sun's Hiheo of Alliance A, as well as the survivors in this entire building. After all, Xialuo is still used to controlling some cannon fodder to work for him. And he doesn't have to do everything himself, of course. If all the survivors in this building are controlled by Alliance A, and the people who join A are not fooled, and no one takes the initiative to serve as cannon fodder for Xialuo, then it doesn't matter much. The worst case scenario is that Xialuo starts from the 35th floor, then grabs some cannon fodder himself, and then controls the cannon fodder to continue cleaning up the floors behind. In short, let's look at the situation first. So after Xialuo talked in the group, he started to enjoy the food and stop paying attention to the messages on his phone. It didn't matter how many people could come later. At this time, in a room on the 18th floor, Sun Zhihao looked very ugly. Sun Zhihao did not expect that Xialuo would come up with such a way to use food to recruit people in the property group. As for the purpose of recruiting people, it goes without saying that it must be used to deal with him, but Xialuo gave too much. Although it is treated the same as Xialuo's dog, there are beef, chicken legs, and a lot of vegetables and fruits. This kind of food is completely comparable to the one before the apocalypse, right? And in these last days, how many people can withstand such temptation? Not to mention the starving survivors, even the core members of Alliance A. And even Sun Zhihao himself would have wanted to be Xialuo's dog if he hadn't been reluctant to give up the power of the Alliance leader. Women can't play in this horrible weather now. Most of the survivors live just for food. Military advisor, do you want to inform the brothers on the 35th floor immediately? If anyone really dares to seek refuge with Xialuo, I will hack him to death. Sun Zhihao was angry for a while, then suddenly seemed to remember something, and then immediately looked at a young man wearing glasses next to him and said the man with the glasses is named Yi Xiaoyuan, and he was a student at a key university before the end of the world. Although Sun Zhihao himself is a gangster, he actually envies those college students with excellent grades, especially after establishing Alliance A. Sun Zhihao knew that in order to make Alliance A bigger and stronger, it would not be possible to just rely on fighting and killing. Talents were still needed to manage and develop it. So after knowing that Yi Xiaoyuan was a famous college student, Sun Zhihao immediately gave Yi Xiaoyuan the treatment of a military advisor in order to prevent himself from starving to death, and so that his girlfriend would not have to serve other men. Yi Xiaoyuan was willing to work for Sun Zhihao and formulated a set of rules for Sun Zhihao to manage the A League. With the rules formulated by Yi Xiaoyuan, League A suddenly became much more formal. Therefore, Sun Zhihao also pays more attention to Yi Xiaoyuan, and basically has to discuss all issues with Yi Xiaoyuan. Yi Xiaoyuan naturally saw the food pictures that Xialuo posted in the group and the recruitment of 20 thugs to deal with the A League, but Yi Xiaoyuan actually had a better way. Yi Xiaoyuan looked at Sun Zhihao and said, "Leader, actually asking the brothers on the 35th floor to intercept those who want to join Xialuo is just a bad idea." Sun Zhihao suddenly became interested. "Commander, do you have a better way?" Yi Xiaoyuan smiled and said, "Leader, since Xialuo wants to recruit people to deal with us, why don't we take the initiative to send people to him? In this way, the initiative can truly be in our hands." When Sun Zhihao heard this, his eyes lit up. Wonderful. This method is indeed a good one. Xialuo wants to recruit people by hoarding food, and there will definitely be many survivors who will be interested. Sun Zihao's first thought was naturally to intercept those who wanted to seek refuge with Xialuo on the 35th floor. As long as no one was allowed to go to the 36th floor, Xialuo would not be able to recruit anyone no matter how much food he had. But if this method is used, it will not only tie up Sun Zihao's manpower and energy, but it seems that there will be no gain for him. There may even be bloody conflicts with those survivors who want to defect to Xialuo. But if Yi Xiaoyuan uses Yi Xiaoyuan's strategy and takes the initiative to send people to Xialuo, these people must be his confidants in the alliance, so he might be able to catch Xialuo directly at that time. The food and women in Xialuo's house will all belong to him. What a brilliant idea! From Sun Zihao's point of view, Xialuo had no way of knowing who was from the A League and whether he was truly loyal to him at that time. As long as Xialuo dares to walk out of his house, Xialuo will be finished. Of course, the premise of all this is that Xialuo wants to get out of the safe house, otherwise they would have nothing to do with Xialuo. But Sun Zihao felt that Xialuo should come out, because if Xialuo just hides in safety, and then makes empty promises to give food to those who surrender to him, and then without even showing his face, let them attack Alliance A, I'm afraid only people with mental problems would believe Xialuo. Haha, this is a good idea, military advisor. Let's do it this way. Now I will arrange for some loyal people to go upstairs and take refuge in Xialuo, 36th floor. Xialuo had just finished breakfast when his cell phone kept ringing. Xialuo picked up his phone and looked at it. It turned out that many people who wanted to join him had already come upstairs, but they all hid in the corridor on the 35th floor and did not dare to go up to the 36th floor after all. Almost everyone in this building knows that Xialuo has a high-pressure water cannon at home. Their enthusiastic property owner, Director Ma, is said to have been soaked by Xialuo with a high-pressure water cannon and then froze to death. So now, although they all came to seek refuge with Xialuo, no one dared to completely believe Xialuo's words. If Xialuo did not come out of the house to receive them, they would not dare to approach Xialuo's house. Of course, the fact that such a situation occurs is also the result of people arranged by Sun Zhihao to spread rumors among the crowd. Sun Zhihao's purpose of sending people this time is to catch Xialuo, so they must let Xialuo get out of the room. Chapter 133. Xialuo finally stopped being strict. Xialuo flew the stealth reconnaissance drone, and then the scene in the corridor on the 35th floor was quickly displayed in front of Xialuo. There are indeed many people who want to seek refuge with Xialuo. There is a group of people standing in the dark corridor, at least 40 or 50 of them, although Xialuo said in the owner group that he only recruits 20 young and strong men, but some middle-aged men, and even some women with their hair cut into a crew cut, also ran up at this time. The treatment offered by Xialuo was too tempting, and they all wanted to try their luck. What if Xialuo recruits more people? And in this post-apocalyptic world, anything can happen. Maybe when Xialuo recruits people, it might end up being a carnival to rob Xialuo. Then if they follow behind, they might be able to catch some mistakes. After the end of the world, many people have long lost the distinction between right and wrong. They just want not to starve, and they just want to live. Xialuo looked through the drone and found that there were about a dozen young men who were obviously in a group. The faces of these 10 people all looked very good, and they obviously lived a good life after the apocalypse. Moreover, they gathered together and talked and laughed, and the other people around them were obviously a little afraid of them. Seeing this situation, Xialuo laughed. You can tell who these people are at a glance. Sun Zhihao of Alliance A is quite smart and knows how to send his subordinates to pretend to surrender to him. And look at those people. They all have weapons in their hands. Maybe as soon as you walk out of the room, they will rush out and hack you to death. But the reason why Xialuo laughed was because if he were an ordinary survivor, he might have fallen into Sun Zhihao's scheme, and his end might be quite miserable. But now, Xialuo actually hopes that he will send more cannon fodder. In the face of absolute strength, any strategy is useless. Xialuo wanted to see what the expression on Sun Zhihao's face would be when he saw the people he sent here turning to deal with him later. General, let's go out and kill people. Woof. Woof. The general, who was summoned by Xialuo, immediately ran over in a hurry. Since he hasn't gone out these days, the general has already been depressed. Boss, you must pay attention to safety. Joe. Xiaotong looked at Xialuo worriedly. In fact, she didn't want Xialuo to go out and take risks after all. Even if Xialuo told her about the gun, there were so many people in Alliance A. If they attacked collectively, she was worried that Xialuo would be harmed. Zhou Xiaotong really has no way to accept losing Xialuo. Xialuo put her arms around Zhou Xiaotong, kissed her hard on her delicate and beautiful face, and then comforted her with a smile. Don't worry, I care about my own safety very much, so I will never fight an uncertain battle, let alone put myself in danger. I don't want such a beautiful secretary like me to fall into the hands of others. I haven't enjoyed it enough yet. Zhou Xiaotong's beautiful face suddenly turned crimson, but her heart was extremely sweet, and she looked at Xialuo tenderly. After Xialuo comforted Zhou Xiaotong, he sent a message to the owner group that he was going out, and then opened the door with the general and walked out. Leader, Xialuo has really come out. He is alone, and he also brings his big black dog with him. There are so many people squatting on the 35th floor, so naturally there are people watching the movements of Xialuo's family all the time. So the moment Xialuo walked out of the house, everyone in the stairwell knew it, and the people sent by Sun Zhihao also reported to Sun Zhihao immediately. After Sun Zhihao received the news, he couldn't help but curse, then burst out laughing. Xialuo, this BD, is finally willing to come out of his BD shell. It's not easy. You must know that from the first day of the end, there are countless people who want to deal with Xialuo. I don't know how many people have worked hard and even sacrificed their lives in order to deal with Xialuo, but Xialuo is too stubborn. He made the house impregnable and installed a high-pressure water cannon. What can anyone do against him? The only thing Sun Zhihao can do is to have people go to Xialuo's house with a loudspeaker every day to curse, which will cause some psychological pressure on Xialuo. But he didn't expect that things would take a turn for the worse, and that Xialuo would come out and die on his own today. Haha, it must be that Xialuo has been staying in the house all this time, and still hasn't seen the cruelty of the end. He thinks he can recruit people with food, and then the people he recruits will be obedient and work for him. Now is not the end of the world. No one cares about the bullshit contract spirit anymore. Sun's Heheo was happy for a moment, and then immediately gave orders to his confidants on the 35th floor. You act according to the situation. If Xialuo is willing to surrender obediently and hand over the keys to his home, then don't hurt him first and bring him down to see me. If Xialuo still wants to resist, then you should give him a good beating first, and then bring him down to see me. By the way, he also brought his black dog with him. Brothers haven't eaten meat for a long time, so today I'm going to let everyone have a luxurious meal and have a delicious dog meat hot pot. In fact, Sun's Heheo regrets it now. If he had known that Xialuo would be so stupid and come out of his beady shell without any warning, he would have gone up in person for this operation. There are two main reasons why Sun's Heheo did not take action personally. Firstly, it's because he is now the leader of the alliance, so naturally he can no longer act like before, personally taking action in fights and rushing to the front. Secondly, Sun's Heheo was not sure whether Xialuo would come out of the house. If Xialuo still didn't come out, then he would go up like before, climbing more than 10 flights of stairs in vain. Now that Xialuo has come out, it will be easy for Sun's Heheo to catch Xialuo, but now he's even more afraid that after his men catch Xialuo, if they enter Xialuo's house and see a lot of food, they may choose to betray him. So he asked his men to bring Xialuo down first after catching Xialuo, and then he would go to Xialuo's house in person. 36th floor. After seeing Xialuo really come out of the house, the people on the 35th floor walked to the 36th floor with confidence. Most of the people from Alliance A sent by Sun's Heheo were walking at the back of the crowd. They were afraid that if they walked in the front, Xialuo would notice something unusual, and then Xialuo would suddenly run home and hide. But as long as they can get close to Xialuo, even if Xialuo discovers something is wrong, Xialuo will not have time to escape home. But what excited Sun's Heheo's men was that Xialuo didn't seem to have any sense of crisis at all, and just stood there waiting for them. Haha, Xialuo, do you have this day too? When a group of people were not far away from Xialuo, and after confirming that Xialuo had no time to escape back to the room, Sun's Heheo's men walked out of the crowd one by one with weapons in hand. But when Sun's Heheo's men showed their ferocious faces, Xialuo's actions made them dumbfounded. Chapter 134. The Loyal and Protective General. Xialuo looked at the crowd gathered around him. He didn't show any fear at all on his face. Then he reached behind his back and pulled it out, and a submachine gun appeared directly in Xialuo's hand. Whether it was Sun's Heheo's subordinates or others who wanted to watch the fun, everyone was immediately stunned. Where did such a big gun come from? Was Xialuo really hiding behind him? Moreover, how could this gun appear in the building? If what Xialuo had was just a pistol, then some people might believe it was true. It might be that Xialuo obtained the pistol through some secret channels, but when they saw the black submachine gun in Xialuo's hand, most people didn't believe it was real. Are you joking? How could Xialuo in their country obtain such arms? Haha, Xialuo, have you watched too many movies? Get a toy gun to scare people. Exactly. What does Xialuo think about acting in a young and dangerous movie? We are all so easy to deceive. If we just take out a gun, we will be frightened? I advise you to kneel on the ground and surrender immediately, so that you can also take some torture. Xialuo, don't be so shameless. In fact, some people were indeed frightened by Xialuo's move, but as someone spoke, everyone suddenly didn't believe that the gun in Xialuo's hand was real. They held steel pipes, machetes and other weapons in their hands and began to surround Xialuo. 10 meters. Woof. Woof. Woof woof. Before Xialuo took action, the general immediately rushed in front of Xialuo, and then roared ferociously at the men who were surrounding him. The general is a large dog, and it is the kind of ugly and very powerful large dog, so when you are angry, it is quite a deterrent. If it were an ordinary survivor, even one or two men, they would probably show timidity when they saw the general's ferocious look at this moment, but there were about 10 men sent by Sun's Heheo, each of them holding a weapon, and they were all fierce people who had seen blood, so there are so many of them. So naturally they will not be intimidated by the general. Haha, Xialuo, in fact, if you dare to come out, your biggest support is this silly dog. Right, hey. Our alliance leader asked me to thank you on his behalf. It just so happens that our alliance is short of meat, so today we can eat dog meat hot pot. Mom, stop talking. I'm so greedy now. Hurry up and kill this silly dog, son. Xialuo's men looked at the general and laughed wantonly, and then many of them swallowed their saliva. 8 meters. The general felt a little chilled by the sight of these people, but he didn't flinch, roaring and getting ready for a fight. Rottweilers are notoriously loyal and protective dogs, but Xialuo naturally has no intention of letting the general fight desperately now. Its glorious moment has not yet come. Xialuo raised his pistol and started to pull the trigger at the men walking in the front. Ta, ta, ta. The men targeted by Xialuo had no time to dodge, and they were all shot and fell into a pool of blood. Ah, my legs, it hurts me to death. His is a real gun. There were 5 or 6 men shot by Xialuo, but not all of them were killed on the spot. Some people were shot on the heart and died immediately, but some people were only shot in the thighs, and some were shot in the abdomen. They fell to the ground and howled miserably but did not die. But whether it's the dead, the injured, or even the lucky ones who escaped the disaster temporarily, everyone understands one thing. That means the guy in Xialuo's hands is real. Xialuo really has a submachine gun. Everyone immediately throw away their weapons and squat on the ground with their heads in their hands, or you will die. Don't even think about escaping, unless you can escape from this building. Otherwise, whoever dares to escape, I will make him die miserably later. Xialuo looked at everyone in the corridor and shouted in a cold voice. As soon as Xialuo finished speaking, many people who had no weapons in their hands immediately obediently squatted on the ground with their heads in their hands. Some of them actually wanted to come to Xialuo, so there's nothing embarrassing at all in obeying Xialuo's words. Even though some people had some small thoughts, the situation at the scene still made them immediately choose to listen to Xialuo first. There are 7 or 8 people still standing. Basically all of them are subordinates sent by Sun Xialuo from Alliance A. In fact, it's not that they are tough and not afraid of death. You can see their mood at this moment from their trembling hands holding weapons, but they are worried that given their status, if they lay down their weapons and surrender, they may die faster. It's not like Alliance A has never used such a routine before. Sometimes when dealing with some survivors who resist tenaciously, they naturally don't want to trade their lives with those survivors, so they will first trick the survivors into surrendering, and after those survivors no longer need to resist and are all arrested, it will be up to them to decide how to deal with those survivors. So the people in Alliance A were afraid that Xialuo would do the same to them, trick them into putting down their weapons, and then kill them all after all. Xialuo's purpose of recruiting people this time seems to be to deal with the people in their A alliance, so they were more worried that Xialuo would kill them. But now if they are asked to fight Xialuo with a submachine gun with a knife, they don't seem to have the courage. Xialuo, no, brother Xialuo, it was our alliance leader Sun Xialuo who arranged for people to come to your house every day to cause trouble for you this time. It was Sun Xialuo who arranged for us to arrest you. I followed Sun Xialuo just to survive. Yes. If I lay down my arms and surrender now, you must promise not to kill me. Bang. Xialuo raised his hand and shot a man who spoke directly. Then Xialuo said coldly to the men who were still standing, listen to me, immediately put down your weapons and squat down with your head in your hands. You are not qualified to negotiate terms with me. If I want to kill you, I can kill you right now. Kill them all. Bang. A sound. Everyone who had weapons in their hands immediately threw their weapons to the ground. Then, like those who had been obedient for a long time, they squatted on the ground with their hands on their heads. Xialuo glanced at the people in the corridor. Originally he only wanted to recruit about 20 people, but he still underestimated the temptation of food to the current survivors in order to get the same treatment as the general. At least 50 people came to the scene, but the more people there are, they're all cannon fodder anyway, and according to his long-standing standards, he might even eliminate a lot of people, because people who are not friendly enough are not even qualified to be cannon fodder for him. Xialuo looked at the people squatting on the ground honestly and said, everyone, listen, I believe you all know why I asked you to come up. That? Sun Xialuo from Ligue is looking for death? People disturb my peace every day, so I will let him never have peace again. As I said in the group before, I need to recruit a group of people to take care of Sun Xialuo for me. The number of people will depend on the situation. Here, I will first talk about my recruitment requirements, which are actually very simple. Anyone who wants to follow me must be loyal enough. People like these people from Alliance A just now pretended to be ordinary survivors and came to seek refuge. What will happen to you? Saw it too. So, those who really want to surrender to me stand up, and then everyone scolds Sun Xialuo, and then swears that they sincerely surrender to me and have no ulterior motives. Chapter 135 The unknown is the scariest thing. After Li Xialuo finished speaking, everyone who was squatting on the ground immediately stood up. No one is a fool, and no one is a fool. Of course everyone knows how to choose. Moreover, the so-called oath of loyalty is too childish in their opinion. Isn't it just a casual oath? Is it really possible to be struck by lightning? In this apocalypse, they only know who is powerful and they will follow him. If Li Xialuo cannot control the situation later, they will still be loyal to Sun Xialuo again. Sun Xialuo is just a turtle BD. I, Luo Zijin, swear that I will be absolutely loyal to boss Li Xialuo. If I lie or have other intentions, I will die badly. Everyone lined up to express their allegiance to Li Xialuo, and Li Xialuo also used the detective eye to look at their personal information. Luo Zijin, friendship level 14, potential value 18, special ability, none. The first man in line was named Luo Zijin. Looking at the sincerity on his face when he swore, Li Xialuo was sure that this man must be a staunch materialist and should not believe in ghosts or gods at all because he is not guilty at all. But Li Xialuo will let him know later that you don't have to believe in gods, but it's best not to make vows casually, otherwise, you may really suffer retribution. Luo Zijin, go and stand by the wall on the right first. Yes, boss Li Xialuo. Luo Zijin looked at the expressionless Li Xialuo and felt a little uneasy. He didn't know whether Li Xialuo was satisfied or not with his performance just now and asking him to stand on the right side. What does this mean? Does the person standing on the right pass or fail? However, Luo Zijin still obediently walked to the right wall and stood still. He felt that Li Xialuo might be bluffing. How could Li Xialuo know who is sincere if he just swore casually like this? He is not a god, so it should be the same as the interview before the doomsday. As long as you speak fluently and have a sincere expression, you will definitely pass. Then a second person came forward to show his loyalty. Liu Dazuang, friendliness level 52, potential value 19, special ability, none. Liu Dazuang, stand by the wall on the left. Sure enough, there is a difference. Whether it was Luo Zijin before or someone who had not been interviewed by Li Xialuo, they all verified their guesses in their hearts. But what makes them suffer is that no one knows whether it is better to stand on the right or the left. Without answers, they didn't even know where to get excited about going. However, no one dared to ask Li Xialuo, so the on-site interview was very fast. Everyone just says a few words and it doesn't take much time at all. Li Xialuo only took one look at each person and then asked them to stand on the left or right side without saying a single extra word. Li Xiang, friendliness level 34, potential value 15, special ability, none. Go and stand on the right side. Chen Jianjin, friendship level 55, potential value 80, special ability, power system, to be awakened. This time Li Xialuo looked at Chen Jianjin a few more times, hesitated for a moment, and then said, go and stand on the left. 10 minutes later, everyone was interviewed by Li Xialuo. There were 47 people in total, and they were divided into two camps. There are 32 people on the left and 15 on the right. People on both sides looked at Li Xialuo with some uneasiness, not knowing what they would face next. I don't know whether the side they are on is good or bad. The unknown is the scariest thing. Liu Dazuang, Chen Jianjin, you two come out. The two people whose names were called by Li Xialuo quickly walked out of the team on the left. Liu Dazuang is a tall, fat man in his 20s. He is about 1.78 meters tall and weighs at least close to 200 kilograms. I don't know how he maintains such a good figure. Chen Jianjin is a middle-aged man, but he stands upright and looks upright. The two of them are considered to be the two most friendly people among them, so Li Xialuo decided to give them a certain amount of importance. Liu Dazuang and Chen Jianjin still didn't know their fate, and their faces looked nervous, especially the fat man Liu Dazuang, whose big round head was already covered with sweat. After all, Li Xialuo kills people at will, which puts too much pressure on him. A fat man before the apocalypse. You two have performed well, and I have decided to promote you to team captain. There are 30 people standing on the left with you. Each of you selects 15 people as temporary members of your team. Li Xiaoluo's words made Liu Dazuang and Chen Jianjin a little stunned. They did not expect that being called out by Li Xiaoluo alone was not to hurt them, but that he was suddenly entrusted with an important task. In fact, There is a reason why Liu Dazhuang and Chen Jianjun thought it was not a good thing to be called out by Li Xiaoluo alone at first. Liu Dazhuang is a homebody, so his social skills are very weak. When he swore his loyalty to Li Xiaoluo just now, he might have stuttered a little because of nervousness. The people following Liu Dazhuang almost couldn't help laughing. That's why Liu Dazhuang was suddenly praised by Li Xiaoluo for his good performance, and he was a little confused. Liu Dazhuang himself didn't even know where he performed well. The other Chen Jianjun felt that it was not a good thing for him to be called out. That's because Li Xiaoluo said in the owner group that he is recruiting young and strong men. He has already entered middle age and is definitely not considered young and strong, but Chen Jianjun was forced to have no choice. There were still people in his family who needed food to save their lives, so he could only come here shamelessly. So Chen Jianjun thought that Li Xiaoluo called him out because he was going to kill the chicken to scare the monkey. Thank you, boss. Don't worry, I will do a good job. Thank you, boss. Li Xiaoluo didn't like being called boss, so he asked them all to call him boss before, which was temporary anyway. Liu Dazhuang and Chen Jianjun immediately expressed their loyalty to Li Xiaoluo in surprise. System. Prompt. Liu Dazhuang is in an excited mood. His friendliness is +5, and his current friendliness towards the host is 57. System. Prompt. Chen Jianjun is extremely grateful to the host. His friendliness is +10, and his current friendliness towards the host is 65. After receiving the system prompt, Li Xiaoluo's face did not show much emotion anyway. These are temporary employees he hired, so their performance will not make Li Xiaoluo feel too much emotion. However, their performance will still have a great impact on themselves in the future. Liu Dazhuang, Chen Jianjun, pick up all the weapons on the ground first. Liu Dazhuang and Chen Jianjun immediately obeyed the order and collected all the weapons that the members of Alliance A had thrown on the ground. Then Li Xiaoluo asked Liu Dazhuang and Chen Jianjun to start selecting team members. Each of them took turns to select one person to his team at a time. The selected person had no right to refuse. Soon, the 30 people on the left were assigned by Liu Dazhuang and Chen Jianjun. Chen Jianjun's team was named the first team by Li Xiaoluo, and Liu Dazhuang's team was named the second team. The name is so simple. Li Xiaoluo, boss, what should we do? After the person on the left was busy for a while and formed a team among the 15 people who were asked by Li Xiaoluo to stand on the right, someone finally couldn't stand the torment in his heart and took the initiative to ask Li Xiaoluo. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelists. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 136. Brothers. Li Xiaoluo has no bullets. Li Xiaoluo glanced at the man who spoke indifferently and said slowly, actually, you all already have conjectures in your mind, don't you? The people standing on the left are all people whose loyalty has been recognized by me. As for those of you on the right, if you don't sincerely want to do things for me, then just go to hell. Li Xiaoluo's words immediately made the 15 people standing on the right panic. Among these 15 people, part of them actually belong to Alliance A. They are core members of Alliance A. They were all high-ranking beings in this building before, so naturally they are not sincerely loyal to Li Charlotte. There are also some people who have long been dissatisfied with the fact that Li Xiaoluo can still live a carefree life after the apocalypse. This time they came here just to kill Li Xiaoluo and then rob Li Xiaoluo's supplies. Therefore, they naturally did not really want to submit to Li Xiaoluo. It was entirely because Li Xiaoluo had a gun that they had to temporarily succumb to Li Xiaoluo. But when they showed their loyalty just now, they didn't show any dissatisfaction. They are not stupid. They can still act and pretend, so they don't believe that Li Xiaoluo can really see through their ulterior motives, let alone admit it. Boss. Li Xiaoluo, are you mistaken? I really submit to you sincerely. How could I be insincere? Me too, boss, or I'll swear a poisonous oath. If I don't sincerely submit to you, if I have other thoughts in my heart, let me go out and be hit by a car. I'll be struck by lightning. Li Xiaoluo, you are unfair. We all sincerely surrender to you. The words of loyalty I said before are exactly the same as what the person in front of me said. Why is he sincere? And I am not. Seeing everyone who was scared, angry and aggrieved, Li Xiaoluo was too lazy to talk nonsense with them. Why? Do you think I should do it? Is this okay? As he spoke, Li Xiaoluo raised the gun in his hand and then pulled the trigger directly towards the crowd on the right. Da 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 da. A flurry of bullets were fired, screams continued to be heard from the crowd, and at the same time, people continued to fall in a pool of blood. Seeing that Li Xiaoluo really wanted to kill them, there were also fierce men who refused to sit still and wait for death. They braved the hail of bullets and tried to rush towards Li Xiaoluo without fear of death, but they were immediately shot to death by Li Xiaoluo. However, the bullets in Li Xiaoluo's magazine are also limited, and they will soon be exhausted. At this time, among the 15 people on the right, there were already more than 10 people who were shot dead or seriously injured. After all, they were too close to Li Xiaoluo. Li Xiaoluo could easily shoot them without having to aim at all. When shooting, there are only 4 or 5 people on the right who can still stand, or can still move. Although these 4 or 5 people were lucky enough not to be shot, they were frightened to death and thought they were bound to die. But until Li Xiaoluo suddenly stopped shooting, a strong desire for survival suddenly appeared in their eyes. Haha, brothers, Li Xiaoluo has no bullets. Let's hurry up. Only by catching Li Xiaoluo can we survive. Yes, hurry up and catch Li Xiaoluo together. The 2 men shouted loudly to the few of their companions who could still move, but their own legs were trembling and they did not dare to step forward, because no one is sure whether there are really no bullets in Li Xiaoluo's gun, or whether there are still bullets in Li Xiaoluo's body. Although they knew this was their chance, they would die if they didn't resist, but they want others to rush in first. FK, at this time, you are still cowardly and selfishly thinking that others will go first. Do you all want to die? Li Xiaoluo has no strength anymore. Let's go together quickly and catch him first. A tall young man roared. This man was Luo Zijin, who was the first to express his loyalty to Li Xiaoluo. Not only is he a member of the league, he may also have some status under his scolding. Several other men finally overcame their fear and surrounded Li Xiaoluo. Li Xiaoluo stood there calmly. Who said he had no strength? We just recruited so many cannon fodder, temporary workers. It's not useless if you don't use it, and it's time to let them do the work. Chen Jianjin, Liu Dazhuang, it's your turn to take action. Kill all these people. Li Xiaoluo ordered Liu Dazhuang and Chen Jianjin, who were standing on the left. After hearing Li Xiaoluo's words, several men who were planning to attack Li Xiaoluo suddenly stopped. The leader, Luo Zijin, turned around and looked at Liu Dazhuang and Chen Jianjin fiercely. Who dares to step on the horse? Li Xiaoluo has no bullets in his gun now. I wonder who among you dares to touch our A-League people. Liu Dazhuang, Chen Jianjin, right? As long as you bring your people to join us now, and then help us capture Li Xiaoluo, our Alliance A will give each of you enough food for a month. But if anyone dares to continue to follow Li Xiaoluo, we in Alliance A will definitely use all the torture on him, and we will not spare any of his family members. Luo Zijin's words are still very effective. Under Luo Zijin's threat, several people in the team around Liu Dazhuang and Chen Jianjin suddenly looked timid and quietly retreated to the back of the team. The whole building knows how people in League A do things, so there are very few people who are not afraid of retaliation. Originally, Li Xiaoluo had a gun, so they really didn't have to worry about Alliance A if they followed Li Xiaoluo. But if Li Xiaoluo's gun is out of bullets now, some people will immediately give up, because most people's friendship level with Li Xiaoluo is only over 40. And there is basically no loyalty at all. Of course, some people retreated, but most of them, led by Liu Dazhuang and Chen Jianjin, fought towards Luo Zijin and the others. In fact, many people came to seek refuge with Li Xiaoluo. In addition to being greedy for the food rewards Li Xiaoluo gave, there were also some people who had grudges against people from Alliance A. They or their family members had been bullied by Alliance A in the past, because no one dared to stand up and organize everyone to resist Alliance A. Even if some people wanted to resist, they did not dare to take the initiative in the end and could only endure the humiliation and be bullied. Now Li Xiaoluo has led so many of them to resist the people of Alliance A and promised to give them food, so they are naturally on Li Xiaoluo's side now. Moreover, Li Xiaoluo just stopped shooting, but was there really no bullet in his gun? Anyway, if they didn't follow Li Xiaoluo to deal with Alliance A, they would just be slaves raised by Alliance A. He may also die in the end, so most people still choose to fight. Liu Dazhuang and Chen Jianjin had weapons in their hands, and with the overwhelming number of people under the group fight, the unarmed Luo Zijin and the others had no room to resist, and were instantly defeated by Liu Dazhuang and Chen Jianjin with their men killed. Please, don't chop me, I surrender. I don't want to die. Someone On Luo Zhejian's side couldn't help it and immediately knelt on the ground and begged for mercy. Chapter 137. Food is now more tempting than beautiful women. Only then did Liu Dazhuang and Chen Jianjun realize that the people from Alliance A, whom they had always feared like tigers, were actually not scary at all. Even under their siege, it can be said that it is vulnerable. In fact, at the moment of life and death, several people led by Luo Zhejian were already resisting desperately, but they have no weapons in their hands, and they are not very skilled people. Moreover, their numbers are much smaller than Liu Dazhuang and Chen Jianjun, therefore, Luo Zhejian's resistance was in vain. As some people were injured and knelt down to beg for mercy, Luo Zhejian and several other men were all hacked to the ground. The stupid Alliance A asked you to take away half of the little food left in my house, causing my parents to starve to death. Damn it, let you beasts take away my wife. I have long wanted to destroy you all. You BD, I was just a little slow to open the door that day, so you slapped me a dozen times. Now are you so arrogant? Liu Dazhuang and Chen Jianjun, a group of people. Some have long-standing grievances against these people in Alliance A, and some have deep hatred, so some of them have become red-eyed. They don't care if anyone kneels down to beg for mercy, and directly vent all their anger on them. On the body until all Luo Zhejian's people died, and some even died without their bodies intact. Li Xialuo didn't stop them. He didn't need to capture these people in the first place, so he just killed them. Seeing that Luo Zhejian and others were all dying, there were 5 or 6 men who had retreated to the back and did not dare to take action after being threatened by Luo Zhejian. Now they see that the overall situation has been decided. They looked at each other. Since Luo Zhejian and others were dead, they must still show off in front of Li Xialuo. Now they are not sure who will be the final winner between Li Xialuo and Li Gai, but at least this round, Li Xialuo won, so they are still Li Xialuo's people now. In order to show that they had contributed, they immediately followed the crowd and roared loudly, and then started kicking the bodies of the dead Luo Zhejian and others. Go to hell, you A-League bastards. If you bullied us before, I'll kick your balls out. You BD, you guys died before I could use my strength. I really gave you an advantage. Li Xialuo watched their performance and couldn't help but smile, but Li Xialuo did not interrupt their performance. Let them live for a few more minutes first. Moreover, Li Xialuo always likes to kill people and punish them first before punishing them. Chen Jianjun, boss, I'm here. Li Xialuo looked at Chen Jianjun and said, there is a stronghold of Alliance A on the 35th floor. There should be some food and weapons. You and your team should go and get those things. Yes, boss. Chen Jianjun immediately nodded in response, and then led his team towards the downstairs. Not long after, Chen Jianjun and his men came up with a lot of food and some weapons. It can be seen from the excited expressions on Chen Jianjun's and others' faces that they should have found a lot of supplies on the 35th floor. Of course, what can excite survivors like Chen Jianjun and others now is food. On the 35th floor, Chen Jianjun and the others really found a lot of food: rice, bread, biscuits, endless chicken legs. When Chen Jianjun and others put the food on the ground, a group of people suddenly stared at the food. Now, for these people, the attraction of these foods is no worse than 100 million yuan of money or a stunning beauty before the end of the world. Even more tempting. After all, even if there are not 100 million before the end of the world, they will not go hungry, let alone their lives will be in danger. But in this post-apocalyptic world, they have tried all the pains of starvation. Li Xialuo took a look at these foods that they regarded as treasures. He really didn't like these things, and he couldn't bear to put them in the space. And if you want these people to be motivated to work, you naturally need to give them a little sweetness. Li Xialuo pointed at the food, looked at everyone and said, I said, those who do things for me loyally will naturally be rewarded. When Li Xialuo said this, a group of people's eyes lit up when they looked at Li Xialuo. The eyes are full of expectation. Li Xialuo did not disappoint them and continued, Chen Jianjun, Liu Dazhuang, these chicken legs have been given to you too. Among that pile of food, there were only 4 of those kinds of packaged infinite chicken legs. Before the end of the world, these kinds of packaged chicken legs cost about 15 yuan each in the supermarket, but in this post-apocalyptic world, they are extremely precious meat now, let alone buying one for 15 yuan. Even if someone takes 15 pounds of gold, they can't exchange it for one. Liu Dazhuang and Chen Jianjun were extremely surprised when they heard that these chicken legs were given to them. No matter how big the pile Li Xialuo drew before, he still couldn't make them happy by giving them some actual supplies now. Thank you, boss. Thank you, boss, Liu. Dezhuang and Chen Jianjun were not polite, and immediately stepped forward and took away 2 precious chicken legs. After Chen Jianjun was given the chicken legs, he did not eat them directly, but immediately hid them in his thick clothes. Chen Jianjun still has relatives at home, and he comes out to earn food for his family in order to give him more strength. When he came out, Chen Jianjun's family gave him the little food left at home. So after Chen Jianjun got the food, even though he was very hungry now, he was reluctant to eat it himself. As for the fat man Liu Dazhuang, after he got the chicken legs, he immediately tore one open and then gnawed it hungrily. Soon he even chewed up the bones and ate them into his stomach. The fat man Liu Dazhuang is single, and his biggest hobby before the end was eating. Now that this chicken leg has been rewarded to him by Li Xiaoluo, no one can stop him from eating. The people around looked at Liu Dazhuang chewing the chicken drumsticks, and the laughter came out of the corners of his mouth. This kind of temptation really makes them suffer, but fortunately, Li Xiaoluo did not forget them. Liu Dazhuang, Chen Jianjun, whoever in your team performed well just now, you should reward each of them with a piece of bread first. Remember, it is those who behave well who get the bread, and those who behave poorly do not get any food. Got it, boss? Liu Dazhuang and Chen Jianjun were not stupid, and they naturally understood the meaning of Li Xiaoluo's words when dealing with Luo Zijin and the others. Some people watched from behind and did nothing. In fact, they were already unhappy with those people, and they always remembered those 6 people. So Liu Dazhuang and Chen Jianjun began to distribute the bread, and everyone who got the bread happily ate it naturally. Those 6 people who had no contribution were not given any bread. Boss, we did our best later, but there were too many people surrounding us at the beginning and we couldn't squeeze in. Please give us something to eat. We are really hungry, eh? Ma'am saw that other people had something to eat. He could only swallow his saliva and quickly explained to Li Xiaoluo. Li Xiaoluo glanced at the man who spoke, and said with cold eyes, "Is this your attitude of admitting your mistake?" After saying that, Li Xiaoluo raised the gun in his hand. Bang! That man was shot directly by Li Xiaoluo. Chapter 138. Give them another chance to be vanguard cannon fodder. Li Xiaoluo directly shot and killed the man who was speaking, showing his 2 attitudes. First, I am very dissatisfied with their performance and their attitude towards admitting their mistakes. Second, you don't have to guess. Your gun still has bullets in it. As for how many bullets are left, then no one knows. Even Li Xiaoluo himself doesn't know. In fact, the bullets in the magazine of Li Xiaoluo's previous gun had indeed been exhausted long ago, but Li Xiaoluo's system space still has many guns with full magazines, so as long as he thinks, the gun without bullets in his hand can immediately turn into a gun with bullets, and without even knowing it, so as long as the bullets Li Xiaoluo found in the arsenal are not used up, the gun in his hand will theoretically always have bullets. Boss, we know it's good. Please give me another chance to change it. Yes, boss. We still have old people and children at home waiting for us to support them. We were also afraid of the A-League's retaliation before. The remaining 5 men were so frightened that they all knelt on the ground and kowtowed, begging Li Xiaoluo for his life. At this moment, they really regretted it. They shouldn't have been careful if they had known it before. Now they have no food, and may even lose their lives. It is really a big loss. FK. The boss made it very clear when he came to us. We were originally going to deal with Alliance A. You are afraid of the retaliation of Alliance A, so why did you come here? The fat man Liu Dazhuang was a straight man. He did not give face to the few people kneeling on the ground and directly exposed their lies angrily. The few chicken drumsticks given by Li Xiaoluo just now made Liu Dazhuang's friendliness even higher. Everyone who received the food became more loyal to Li Xiaoluo, especially since there are still bullets in Li Xiaoluo's gun. As long as they have the gun, they will have the confidence to deal with the people of Alliance A. It's definitely not wrong to follow Li Xiaoluo. Boss, how do you deal with the 5 of them? Liu Dazhuang raised the knife in his hand, and then looked at the 5 people kneeling on the ground. It seemed that as long as Li Xiaoluo gave the order, he would immediately kill these people. Li Xiaoluo waved his hand. Forget it, no one is a saint, no one can make mistakes, I will give them another chance. Li Xiaoluo's words were like the sound of nature, surprising the 5 people kneeling on the ground. However, Li Xiaoluo's next words made them feel like they were facing an abyss. But since they made a mistake, they naturally need to make up for it since they were so afraid of the people of Alliance A just now. Then when they go downstairs to deal with the large force of Alliance A, let a few of them rush to the front if they can. If they have the courage and strength to survive, then I won't hold them accountable for the mistakes they made this time. But I have to say it again, this is the first time they made a mistake, so I gave them a chance to make up for it. But if anyone dares to fight later, don't blame the bullets in my gun for not showing any mercy. Got it? Thank you, boss. Thank you, boss, for giving us another chance. Although the men kneeling on the ground were about to cry without tears, they could only keep kowtowing to Xialuo to thank him. In fact, they all knew that the opportunity Xialuo gave them was too dangerous. Just let them rush to the front and serve as cannon fodder and death squads, but they still want to be grateful after all. It is better than being killed by Xialuo's order now. As long as he's alive, he still has a chance. This is why those prisoners on death row will not be afraid of death as long as they are promised a chance to live, even if they are sent to the most dangerous place on the battlefield. Although I know it will be very dangerous and most people may die, what if I become the lucky one? This is also the reason why Xialuo did not kill the 5 of them directly. Waste also has value. The people around them, Liu Dazhuang and Chen Jianjun, also felt that the boss's method was very good. Rather than killing these people directly, it is better to wait and let them rush to the front, so that Liu Dazhuang and Chen Jianjun will be in much less danger. Now many people are secretly glad. Fortunately, most of them hate Alliance A, or they made the right choice otherwise. Now they may also suffer the same fate as these people. Where is it like now, where they can eat food and then look at the miserable appearance of the 5 people on the ground? Whether it is before the apocalypse or after the apocalypse now, people like to compare others. Even if you are living a very hard life, if you see someone who is having a much harder life than you are, then you will feel a sense of satisfaction in your heart. Happiness is the result of comparison. Liu Dazhuang, Chen Jianjun, assign a weapon to each member of your team. Now it's time to uproot the A-League's lair. Yes, boss. Liu Dazhuang and Chen Jianjun immediately stood up straight and responded, and then began to distribute weapons to those who did not have weapons just now. Chen Jianjun led people to find a lot of weapons from the 35th floor, although they couldn't allow each of the more than 30 people to have a knife, but at least it allows everyone to have weapons in their hands, and there are more than 10 knives, which increases their confidence a lot. Just when Xialuo was arranging his cannon fodder team upstairs and preparing to set off towards the A-League's den downstairs at this time, in the home of Alliance A on the 18th floor, Sun Zhihao looked at the phone in his hand with some irritability. FK, what does that guy Luo Zijin do for a living? Why doesn't he reply to my messages? Military advisor, you said that after they captured Xialuo, did they disobey my order and secretly go to Xialuo's house? No wonder Sun Zhihao was angry at this time. Zhao Xiaobing and his group downstairs weren't already enough to upset him. If Luo Zijin upstairs now leads others to rebel again, that would really not be good news for him. Ye Xiaoyuan, the military advisor of Alliance A, sat next to Sun Zhihao. He thought for a while before speaking. Leader, it stands to reason that it shouldn't be the case. The people you sent here are very loyal, and when we selected people, we also deliberately selected some people who would not deal with Luo Zijin. So even if Luo Zijin wanted to rebel, he would not. Everyone listens to him, and Luo Zijin and the others are probably not stupid. They are at the top now. If they rebel, where can they go? Are they going to hide in that Xialuo's house for the rest of their lives? What I'm worried about now is not Luo Zijin and the others' rebellion. I'm more worried about that Xialuo. Sun Zhihao was stunned for a moment. Military advisor, are you worried that Xialuo will take Luo Zijin and the others? Sun Zhihao did not finish what he said later because this should be impossible. Charlotte Li is not Superman. How could it be possible to kill so many people brought up by Luo Zijin? Ye Xiaoyuan said. Luo Zijin reported that Xialuo walked out of the safe house before. In fact, I felt a little uneasy. If I were Xialuo, there would be an indestructible safe house, a lot of food, and even women. Why should I take risks? Is Xialuo really stupid? Sun Zihao's face suddenly turned ugly. Chapter 139. Li Xiao and Su Xiu, mother and daughter, are actually doing well. But at this time, Ye Xiaoyuan suddenly smiled again and said, Leader, you don't have to worry too much. Those are all my guesses and may not be true, but just in case, I think we still need to prepare our brothers for battle and strengthen our defenses, and even if Xialuo really has some trump cards, have you forgotten, Alliance Leader? We also have a few people in our hands, and they should be quite important to Xialuo, right? With them here, we can control Xialuo. When Sun Zhihao heard this, he immediately knew who Ye Xiaoyuan was talking about, and he immediately laughed. Okay, military advisor, You immediately notify the brothers to prepare for battle. If Luo Zijin doesn't reply to the message after waiting for you upstairs, we will go upstairs to check the situation in person. Also, call Su Xiuxiu, her daughter, and Li Xiaoluo's brother Li Xiaoi over. Yes, alliance leader. Soon, Su Xiuxiu, her daughter and Li Xiaoi were brought to Sun's Heiheo. Judging by their looks, mother and daughter Li Xiaoi and Su Xiuxiu are actually doing well. Hello, alliance leader. After Su Xiuxiu and her daughter saw Sun's Heiheo, they immediately greeted Sun's Heiheo with smiles on their faces. In the A-League team, most women, like all women who survive in the apocalypse, have a very low status, but with the exception of a few women, such as Su Xiuxiu and her daughter, Sun's Heiheo gave them the treatment of core members because at the beginning, Sun's Heiheo still valued Su Xiuxiu's status as the director of the Mother's Business Committee, and the women on his team also need someone to manage them for him. Leader, what do you want us to do? Li Xiaoi, who came with Su Xiuxiu and her daughter, also looked at Sun's Heiheo with a flattering expression. Li Xiaoi was actually quite lucky. After the ice apocalypse came, his family didn't have any food stored at all. He asked Li Xiaoluo for help, but Li Xiaoluo ignored him at all. He also asked his neighbors for help, but whose family would have extra food to share with him. Forced to have no choice, Li Xiaoi also wanted to learn the method taught online, so he took a knife and tried to rob the neighbor's food, but his start was at a disadvantage. Li Xiaoi had just moved here and was not familiar with some of the conditions of the residents here. The neighbor he chose to rob had several strong men in his house. Seeing that Li Xiaoi dared to act arrogantly alone, he did not indulge him and beat Li Xiaoi severely. Li Xiaoi suddenly felt a little frustrated because he didn't get the food and was severely beaten. In fact, Li Xiaoi also regretted one thing. It would have been better if he had not sold Dahai to Li Xiaoluo. It's enough for him to eat for a long time. Just when Li Xiaoi was about to starve to death, Sun's Heiheo and his men began to rob the survivors, and Li Xiaoi was lucky enough to be the first group of residents to be robbed. Why do you say you were lucky if you were robbed? Because apart from his people, Li Xiaoi had nothing worth being robbed at home. Instead, Sun's Heiheo was recruiting troops in order to strengthen his team. Li Xiaoi was about to die, so he didn't care whether following Sun's Heiheo would lead to murder or arson, so he almost begged to join Sun's Heiheo's team after following Sun's Heiheo, although Li Xiaoi had no fighting ability. Under the power of a fox and a tiger, the family who had dealt with him before was unlucky. The men were killed by him and his men, and the women were captured by them and used to serve them. This made Li Xiaoi breathe a sigh of relief, and he was completely determined to follow Sun's Heiheo to do evil. Sun's Heiheo looked at Li Xiaoi and the others and said with cold eyes, "You three have a close relationship with that Li Xiaoluo." However, before Sun's Heiheo could finish speaking, Li Xiaoi immediately jumped to his feet and said, "Alliance leader, heaven and earth are a lesson from the day I followed you. I am yours, and I am absolutely loyal to you. What's more, Li Xiaoluo was so stupid back then he refuses to save me until death, so you can rest assured that I will never go to Li Xiaoluo." When Su Xiuxiu heard Li Xiaoluo's name, she was filled with hatred and said, "Leader, I am the same. From the moment Li Xiaoluo betrayed me, I have completely separated myself from him. In fact, the reason why Su Xiuxiu wanted to get back together with Li Xiaoluo was because she saw Li Xiaoluo suddenly became rich. That's why she kept talking to Li Xiaoluo and endured Li Xiaoluo's disregard for her, but until she realized that Li Xiaoluo was really no longer her lover, and even wanted to harm her, and there was no sign of the end of the apocalypse, and the wealth before the apocalypse became useless. Su Xiuxiu also completely gave up on Li Xiaoluo. Even because of Li Xiaoluo's previous attitude towards her, her home was robbed, and Su Xiuxiu hated Li Xiaoluo more than others. "Okay, don't worry about showing your loyalty in front of me. I called you here to tell you that if Li Xiaoluo really has some tricks and becomes the situation, then you must play the emotional card with Li Xiaoluo so that Li Xiaoluo does not dare to act rashly for you." Li Xiaoi laughed and said, "Haha, leader, you are really good at joking. Apart from hiding at home and being a coward, what can Li Xiaoluo do? What kind of climate can he become? I don't know others, but I am too familiar with Li Xiaoluo." Su Xiuxiu also followed, "That's right, Li Xiaoluo is a waste. Apart from getting some money to build a BD shell before the end of the world, he has no other abilities at all." However, before Su Xiuxiu could finish her words, a man suddenly ran in a panic. "Leader, what's wrong? Li Xiaoluo led dozens of people to kill us downstairs." Li Xialuo and Xiu immediately stayed on the spot. This slap in the face must have come too quickly. FK, why are you panicking? There are dozens of us, and they are all elites. Are we afraid of the rabble led by Li Xialuo, son? Xialuo was actually stunned for a moment. He did not expect that the military advisor's prediction would come true. Li Xialuo must have some trump card that they didn't know about. He actually got rid of all the people he sent to deal with him, and now he leads a group of people to fight them down. But although he was a little surprised, Sun Xialuo didn't think he would lose. Now the men under him are basically young and strong, and they are all people who have seen blood. There is no reason why they would lose to Li Xialuo and the others. Then Sun Xialuo took Xiu and the others with him, put on his weapons and walked out of the room. When we arrived at the corridor on the 18th floor, all the soldiers from Alliance A were already standing there with weapons in hand. Fortunately, the military advisor reminded him to send people to patrol upstairs. Otherwise, if everyone was eating, drinking and having fun in the house as usual, they might have been attacked by Li Xialuo now. Have Li Xialuo and his people come down, son. Xialuo was just about to ask Xiaoyuan about his situation. Kill. Suddenly, there was a sound of hacking in the corridor on the 19th floor, and then I saw a group of people waving weapons in their hands and rushing towards the downstairs. However, those people who rushed down from upstairs looked like they had no combat experience at all. They were just waving their weapons and fighting randomly in the narrow corridor. Some people even injured their companions because of random beatings. Haha, Li Xialuo and this group of people are indeed a mob. Sun Xialuo showed a smile on his face. Chapter 140. The slap in the face really hurts. On Li Xialuo's side, Li Xialuo took Liu Dazhuang and Chen Jianjin to the 18th floor unimpeded. Li Xialuo had long known through the drone that Alliance A's stronghold was on the 18th floor. Even through drone reconnaissance, Li Xialuo saw several people he was familiar with who were now in the A League. This gives Li Xialuo another reason to clean up Alliance A. He didn't expect that they are all together. When Li Xialuo and the others came down from upstairs, the people from Alliance A seemed to have no time to organize manpower to stop them. But at the stairs leading to the 18th floor, Alliance A has already deployed a large number of manpower. However, Li Xialuo didn't pay attention to any military tactics and simply asked Liu Dazhuang and Chen Jianjin to lead the charge downstairs. Of course, the 5 people who had to take the blame and make meritorious deeds were naturally at the forefront. If they can survive, Li Xialuo promises not to care about the mistakes they made before. Kill, kill. These lackeys of Alliance A. The sounds of fighting soon came in the stairwell. The people on Li Xialuo's side walked down from the top of the stairs, and the few people rushing at the front were all the death squads designated by Li Xialuo. They knew that if they didn't fight hard this time and dared to retreat, the boss Li Xialuo would never give them another chance to live and would definitely shoot them directly, so they could only wave the weapons in their hands desperately, and then fight with the people of Alliance A desperately. As for the people from Alliance A guarding the stairwell, they have become accustomed to being superior these days and completely regard themselves as the owners of this building. The owners who usually lived on the floors under their jurisdiction were like quails when they saw them. They didn't dare to let go even after being bullied by them. The thugs of Alliance A did not believe that these untouchables in their eyes would be able to achieve much by following Li Xialuo, so they actually didn't pay much attention to this battle at all. They felt that as long as they raised their machetes, Li Xialuo's mob might be so frightened that they would kneel on the ground and beg for mercy. But soon, the thugs from Alliance A who rushed to the front discovered that they were wrong, and how wrong they were. Li Xialuo's people who rushed to the front all seemed to have taken medicine, as if they didn't care about their lives even if someone was cut by them, even if the faces of the first few people showed pain and fear. They still fought forward with their weapons desperately. The thugs at the front of Alliance A soon saw blood and were injured, because they were not in a good position at the bottom of the stairs, and when they encountered the enemy's desperate tactics, it was useless even if they had great combat experience. Exclamation mark. Then the A-League thugs became timid, and the injured began to retreat. People in League A really want to say to the desperate people on Li Xialuo's side, "Damn, brother, we are all the lowest level, just making a living. And it's not like you're defending your country. Why are you working so hard? If we die or are injured, no one will pity us." Although the thugs from Alliance A enjoy the status and treatment given to them by the Alliance in this building, but people are selfish and afraid of death, and they are not willing to dedicate their lives to Alliance A. They are not that great yet, especially in this post-apocalyptic world. Many people have long only cared about their own life and death. Therefore, the injured or frightened thugs from Alliance A began to retreat downstairs in panic. When we meet on a narrow road, the brave will win. In a narrow stairwell, the advantage of having a large number of people cannot be used. What matters is who is brave, or once a deserter appears among the people in Alliance A, it will immediately be infected with other people because all of them were ordinary people without training. When they saw their companions retreating and running away, they would not think about holding on to their position or fighting for their lives, so they naturally fled downstairs immediately. So Sun Zihao, who was standing downstairs watching the battle, was suddenly dumbfounded. A moment ago, he was laughing at Li Xiaoluo's people who were just a mob, and their fights were completely unorganized. There were even funny scenes where one of his own people hit one of his own people, but the next moment, Li Xiaoluo's men were indeed extremely brave and refused to retreat, directly beating his men to fear. This slap in the face really hurts. Leader, Li Xiaoluo's people have gone crazy. Those of us rushing in front can't hold it anymore. Let's all retreat, so that we can kill Li Xiaoluo's people in the corridor, and our people can also all go into battle to kill the enemy. One of Sun Zihao's cronies ran up to him and quickly suggested, "Okay, let the brothers retreat into the corridor, and then everyone is ready. If anyone dares to retreat again, I will personally chop him down." In fact, without Sun Zihao giving an order, their people had already retreated from the stairwell to the corridor, so Sun Zihao did not hesitate and immediately issued the order loudly. It can be regarded as a step down for their defeat. Moreover, Sun Zihao did not think that his people were defeated. Sun Zihao felt that Li Xiaoluo was too insidious. Li Xiaoluo must have arranged for a few of his most capable and brave men to rush to the front. The stairwell cannot accommodate too many people to fight, so his men will lose. But as soon as they reach the corridor, Li Xiaoluo's advantage as a few individual soldiers is gone. However, for the sake of his own safety, Sun Zihao and a few close guards quickly retreated back. Soon, the thugs who joined A retreated into the corridor, and then their confidence returned. Because the corridor is much easier to fight than the stairwell, Li Xiaoluo's people no longer have the geographical advantage to attack them from above. Moreover, the corridor is relatively spacious, and the thugs of Alliance A can also take advantage of their crowd tactics. In short, they must get back the humiliation just now, soon. Li Xiaoluo's people also came to the corridor on the 18th floor from the stairwell, but Li Xiaoluo's people looked at the dozens of thugs from Alliance A who were already preparing to attack and looked at them with fierce faces. The hands of Li Xiaoluo's people holding weapons were trembling a little. The main reason why he was able to win in the stairwell just now was that Li Xiaoluo let the 5 suicide squads rush in front. Those 5 people knew that they could not retreat, otherwise they would be shot to death by Li Xiaoluo. So in order to survive, those 5 people indeed broke out with amazing fighting power and courage. But now, those 5 people who were dead or injured have all withdrawn from the battle. Now it was Liu Dazhuang and Chen Jianjun, leading their respective teams to the front. In fact, the people in Alliance A are not wrong. Most of the people under Li Xiaoluo are just a bunch of rabble. After seeing the menacing main force of Alliance A, many people have long been extremely scared. If Li Xiaoluo was holding the battle from behind and knew that Li Xiaoluo had a gun in his hand, most of Li Xiaoluo's team might have fled in a hurry. Chapter 141. Where does his confidence come from? Li Xiaoluo, you do have some tricks. You were able to kill the people I sent up here, and you even made these losers risk their lives for you. I'm curious, what benefits did you promise them, son? Zihao did not immediately order his men to attack, but stood on the other side of the corridor and shouted loudly towards Li Xiaoluo. Li Xiaoluo smiled and said, "Son Zihao, the benefits I promised will be directly distributed to the owner group. As long as you are not blind, you should be able to see it, right? By the way, let me advertise here again. Are there any people in League A who want to change jobs? If you are willing to change jobs and follow me now, then I will welcome you, of course, except Sun Zihao and his henchmen." However, no one in League A responded to Li Xiaoluo. In the minds of people in League A, this Li Xiaoluo was probably not here to make a joke, right? Although they suffered a small defeat just now, anyone with a discerning eye can see that Alliance A now has the advantage and has strong troops. How arrogant is Li Charlotte to be able to say something that makes them rebel? Sun Zihao roared. Li Xiaoluo, shut up, son. Zihao also felt that Li Xiaoluo was mentally retarded. Where does his confidence come from? Many of the people on Li Xiaoluo's side were trembling. Does Li Xiaoluo think they can win? Li Xiaoluo, I am also a person who loves talents, so I can also give you a chance. As long as you surrender with your people, I can forget about what you have done before and give you the title of the 3rd leader of our A League. Identity, what do you think, son? Xialuo looked at Li Xiaoluo sincerely, as if he really valued Li Xiaoluo, but will Sun Xialuo really let things go? Of course not. Li Xiaoluo had caused a lot of losses to his alliance this time, and he wanted to skin Li Xiaoluo right away, but Sun Xiaoluo listened to the military advisor and wanted to take the overall situation into consideration. Li Xiaoluo now has a lot of people under his command, and some of them seem to have been injected with chicken blood. If Sun Xiaoluo orders his men to fight Li Xiaoluo's people, he will win in the end, but he may lose a lot of people in the end. Sun Xiaoluo's opponent is not just Li Xiaoluo. Even before today, he had never regarded Li Xiaoluo as an opponent at all. Sun Xiaoluo's opponents have always been Zhao Xiaobing's group downstairs. Therefore, Sun Xiaoluo does not want to fight Li Xiaoluo head-on, and does not want to continue to lose the strength of the league. As long as Li Xiaoluo is willing to submit to him, he will naturally find a way to deal with Li Xiaoluo when the time comes. Then there will be no need to waste a single soldier. Sun Xiaoluo's idea is quite good, but he met Li Xiaoluo. Li Xiaoluo never considered Sun Xiaoluo as an opponent, seeing that Li Xiaoluo had no intention of surrendering. No one under Li Xiaoluo planned to surrender either. Sun Xiaoluo's face suddenly darkened. It seemed that they had to kill Li Xiaoluo's people until they were scared, so they would put down their weapons, but since he wants to take action, Li Xiaoluo is a dead person in the eyes of Sun Xiaoluo, and he will not give Li Xiaoluo another chance to surrender. Brothers, rush forward and kill these ungrateful bastards. You really think you can go to heaven if you gather a few people? Let me show them the strength of our alliance, Sun Xiaoluo waved his hand, and then loudly gave the order to attack to the thugs in Alliance A. Kill, 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 all. The thugs in Alliance A suddenly roared in unison. Not to mention, the momentum suddenly increased. This is actually a rule Sun Xiaoluo set for them. As long as there is a large-scale battle, everyone must first shout kill 3 times in unison. Firstly, it is to enhance their own momentum, and secondly, it is to intimidate the enemy from their momentum. Judging from their previous practical experience, the effect is quite good. Of course, the reason why Sun Xiaoluo said that the effect is not bad is actually because the opponents that Alliance A currently encounters are not too strong. At least their Alliance A has always had the advantage. It was the same this time. The people of Alliance A came towards Li Xiaoluo's people one by one, and the people on Li Xiaoluo's side suddenly became a little confused. Liu Dazhuang and Chen Jianjun led some people to resist desperately. Liu Dazhuang, a fat man, was very strong. He relied on brute force to constantly wave the weapons in his hands to kill the enemy. He had good combat effectiveness. As for Chen Jianjun, he pays more attention to skills. He must have been a soldier, so he can barely cope with several people by himself. But there were still some people on Li Xiaoluo's side who started to retreat even before they came into contact with the enemy. Some even lay down on the ground and pretended to be dead, in front of the machetes of the A-League thugs. They seemed to have forgotten Li Xiaoluo, who was watching the fun in the back, and they also forgot what happened to those who backed down from the battle upstairs. Therefore, Li Xiaoluo's side was already at a disadvantage in terms of numbers and strength, and some people were afraid not to fight. No matter how brave Liu Dazhuang and Chen Jianjun are, no matter how brave they are and fearless of death, they are about to be unable to withstand it. Bang! Suddenly, there was a gunshot. Make the whole corridor quiet. The people who were still fighting seemed to be frozen, and they all stayed in place. Liu Dazhuang and Chen Jianjun breathed a long sigh of relief. Their boss finally took action. The reason why Liu Dazhuang and Chen Jianjun are not afraid of the people from Alliance A to kill the enemy bravely is because Li Xiaoluo is their confidence. They know that although they are at a disadvantage on the surface, as long as their boss Li Xiaoluo takes action, they can reverse it immediately. The reason why boss Li Xiaoluo didn't take action at the beginning may be to test them, or he may not want to waste bullets. Liu Dazhuang and Chen Jianjun didn't know what their boss was thinking, but now as long as the boss takes action, they can feel much more relaxed, and fortunately they have persisted in fighting until now without retreating or escaping. Otherwise they would end up faced with a sudden sound of gunfire. Everyone in Alliance A subconsciously did not dare to move, with a look of fear on their faces. Who is not afraid of guns when riding a horse? Moreover, why are there guns in their building? Then everyone looked at Li Xiaoluo, or to be exact, at the submachine gun in his hand. In China, guns are a very mysterious thing for ordinary people. Many people have only seen them on TV and basically have no chance to see them in reality. Moreover, people from Alliance A originally thought that the gun in Li Xiaoluo's hand should only be a pistol or the like, or a homemade shotgun like those in rural areas. But when they saw the gun in Li Xiaoluo's hand, The people in Alliance A were even more stunned. Although they didn't know what type of submachine gun Li Xiaoluo was holding, it didn't stop them from knowing that this kind of gun was definitely much more powerful than a pistol. There are probably not many people who have not heard of the famous AK. Although the AK is an automatic rifle and not a submachine gun, the style is still similar. Chapter 142 The Performances of Su Zhiuxiu and Li Xiaolue. Sun Zhihao also felt a chill in his heart. Now he finally knew why the people he sent didn't deal with Li Xiaoluo, and he also knew why Li Xiaoluo's people were so brave that they were not afraid of death, all because Li Xiaoluo had a gun in his hand at times like this. The man with the gun is the boss, it's the ancestor, who dares to disobey. Sun Zhihao was also very scared at this time. If everyone was a cold weapon, even if Li Xiaoluo was particularly good at fighting, he would be able to kill Li Xiaoluo with others, but he really didn't expect that Li Xiaoluo actually had arms, especially looking at the fear on the faces of all his men. Sun Zhihao knew that if he didn't think of a way, his end would be coming. Sun Zhihao, who was forcing himself to calm down, suddenly lit up. He felt that the military advisor was really his savior and had prepared him in advance. This preparation is naturally made by Su Zhiuxiu and Li Xiaolue. Brother Charlotte, I have been asking people to go upstairs to disturb your life before. It is my fault. I sincerely apologize to you, and I can give you some food or material compensation. You can give it as much as you want. As long as you promised me. How about if we don't interfere with each other in the future? Li Xiaoluo smiled and said, Sun Zhihao, do you think you are qualified to make conditions with me now? Sun Zhihao said, Brother Charlotte, you have a gun, but we have many brothers in Alliance A. I think it's better for everyone not to fight to the death, and look at who these two people are. Su Zhiuxiu and Li Xiaolue are both with me in my hands. If the fish is really going to die, I guarantee that the two of them will die in front of me. Saying that, Sun Zhihao immediately asked his henchmen to escort Su Zhiuxiu and Li Xiaolue to the front, and both Su Zhiuxiu and Li Xiaolue had knives on their necks. In Sun Zihao's view, Su Zhiuxiu is Li Xiaoluo's ex-girlfriend, and Li Xiaolue is Li Xiaoluo's younger brother. Although the relationship may not be very good, but Sun Zhihao didn't believe it. Li Xiaoluo could really watch Su Zhiuxiu and Li Xiaolue die. Su Zhiuxiu and Li Xiaolue actually did not expect that things would develop to this situation. The two of them had completely broken up with Li Xiaoluo in their hearts. After seeing Li Xiaoluo, they just wanted to trample Li Xiaoluo under their feet, and then look for opportunities to severely humiliate Li Xiaoluo. When Sun Zhihao came to them and said that Li Xiaoluo might become a climate, they regarded it as a joke. Whether it is Su Zhiuxiu or Li Xiaolue, it can really be said that they grew up with Li Xiaoluo. Do they not know how much Li Xiaoluo weighs? Can Li Xiaoluo resist the A-League? But now, Su Zhiuxiu and Li Xiaolue admitted that they really couldn't see through Li Xiaoluo. In fact, from the days before the end, Su Zhiuxiu and Li Xiaolue couldn't understand Li Xiaoluo. They felt that he really seemed to be a different person. How to put it? It's like the body is still Li Xiaoluo's body, but the soul is no longer that Li Xiaoluo. Su Zhiuxiu and Li Xiaolue didn't know how Li Xiaoluo had a gun, but they knew the current situation. Li Xiaoluo seemed to have really gained the upper hand, so they really need to put on a show. Su Zhiuxiu looked at Li Xiaoluo with a pitiful look that I felt pity for. Brother Xialuo, help me. We grew up together as childhood sweethearts, and you have liked me for so long. You must save me. Li Xiaolue also quickly said, Brother, I am your brother. We are relatives whose blood is thicker than water. You can't just ignore death. I know that I was a bit too much in the past, but after what happened after the apocalypse, I realized that my relatives I have really changed my preciousness. Brother, please give me another chance. Su Zhiuxiu and Li Xiaolue both asked Li Xiaoluo for help with frightened expressions on their faces, looking so helpless and pitiful. In fact, in Su Zhiuxiu and Li Xiaolue's heart, they hoped that Li Xiaoluo would live a miserable life and be caught and tortured by the people of Alliance A. But if the people in League A really can't beat Li Xiaoluo, then they don't mind following Li Xiaoluo. So just like the previous Alliance leader Sun Zhihao said, what they have to do now is to play the emotional card and make Li Xiaoluo compromise in order to save them. Li Xiaoluo looked at Su Zhiuxiu and Li Xiaolue with a strange smile on his lips. Sun Zhihao, these two people do have something to do with me, and I am also somewhat interested in them. Let's do this. If you hand them over to me now, I won't kill you. Hearing Li Xiaoluo's words, Sun Zihao's face opposite showed a hint of joy. Haha, Li Xiaoluo really cares about Su Zhiuxiu and Li Xiaolue. So he feels confident. In fact, this is what Sun Xiaohao feels. After the apocalypse, most people's relatives and friends will almost all be dead. It is actually very difficult for anyone to survive with people who have close connections with him, so Li Xiaoluo has no reason not to care about the life and death of Su Xiuxiu and Li Xiaoyi. Su Xiuxiu and Li Xiaoyi also showed a hint of excitement on their faces. They were both very excited when they heard that Li Xiaoluo still cared about them. Sun Xiaohao looked at Li Xiaoluo and said, "Brother Xiaoluo, our alliance really doesn't want to conflict with you anymore. In this doomsday, we survivors are already living a very difficult life. There is really no need for us to kill each other anymore, right? Don't worry, as long as you are willing to accept my peace proposal, I will hand over Su Xiuxiu and Li Xiaoyi to you, but not now. Let's do this. As long as you are willing to coexist peacefully, I will have someone personally deliver Su Xiuxiu and Li Xiaoyi to you in 3 days. Go to your home on the 36th floor, Li." Xiaoluo glanced at Sun Xiaohao indifferently. "I gave you the chance to live, but you didn't grasp it yourself." Hearing the tone of Li Xiaoluo's words, Sun Xiaohao suddenly panicked. "Li Xiaoluo, Su Xiuxiu and Li Xiaoyi are still in my hands. Don't mess around. Su Xiuxiu and Li Xiaoyi may be your last relatives in this world. If you dare to kill my people, I will really kill you. You will regret it for the rest of your life." In fact, if Li Xiaoluo experienced the apocalypse for the first time, he would indeed be as Sun Xiaohao said, even if there were some conflicts with Su Xiuxiu and Li Xiaoyi before the apocalypse. But when most of our relatives and friends may have died, anyone close to us who is still alive is very precious. It's a pity that Li Xiaoluo has experienced this life long ago, and now he doesn't need any so-called relatives. Li Xiaoluo ignored Sun Xiaohao and looked at the rest of the A-League people. "Everyone in Alliance A, listen, immediately throw all the weapons in your hands to me on the ground, then put your head in your hands and surrender. Otherwise, don't blame the bullets in my gun for not having eyes." Li Xiaoluo's shouting made the thugs from Alliance A look at Sun Xiaohao. In fact, they are more willing to follow Sun Xiaohao, because they are all core members of Sun Xiaohao. But after surrendering, they will be prisoners. "Li Xiaoluo, do you really want to force me?" Sun Xiaohao was anxious. He personally took a knife from the hand of a henchman, and then walked to Li Xiaoyi. "Li Xiaoluo, if you dare to kill my people, I will kill Li Xiaoyi." Bang, bang. Li Xiaoluo didn't wait for Sun Xiaohao to finish what he said. He directly took the gun and shot at Sun Xiaohao's men continuously. It wasn't that Li Xiaoluo didn't want to shoot Sun Xiaohao directly, because the distance was a bit far and there were too many people between him, so it's the same thing to deal with Sun Xiaohao's men first. After shooting several people, Li Xiaoluo said in a cold voice, "Either throw away the weapons and surrender, or die." If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 143 Leader, why are you serious? Seeing that Li Xiaoluo actually shot and killed people, the people in Alliance A no longer dared to place their hopes on Sun Xiaohao. Most of them immediately threw away their weapons, and then immediately squatted down and surrendered with their heads in their hands. It's not that they are not brave enough, nor that they don't want to resist, it's just that they are also made of flesh and blood. People who shoot guns are afraid from the bottom of their hearts. Only Sun Xiaohao and a few of his confidants were unwilling to become prisoners, and they might even die after surrendering. Sun Xiaohao looked at Li Xiaoluo with a fierce look on his face. "Li Xiaoluo, you really want to fight to the death, right? Then I will help you." After saying that, Sun Xiaohao waved the machete in his hand and struck Li Xiaoyi. Li Xiaoyi let out a shrill scream, and his left ear was chopped off by Sun Xiaohao. "Leader, why are you serious?" Li Xiaoyi was in agony and looked at Sun Xiaohao in horror. The expressionless Sun Xiaohao ignored Li Xiaoyi. He just stared at Li Xiaoluo. "Li Xiaoluo, are you sure you really want to watch your brother Li Xiaoyi die? And he died because of you. Won't you have nightmares in the future?" Li Xiaoyi also endured the pain and trembled all over. "Brother, I don't want to die, I really don't want to die. If I die, your father and my mother will be very sad, and they will die with their eyes open. Brother, you are my brother, you have an obligation to take care of me." Li Xialuo slowly raised the gun in his hand, looked at Li Xiaoyi calmly and said, I'm sorry, I have severed ties with you before the end, so your life and death really have nothing to do with me, but don't worry, for the sake of growing up together, I will also kill the people who kill you. Bang! After saying that, Li Xiaoluo continued to shoot those in Li Ge who did not throw away their weapons. All die, son. Xiahao went completely crazy, because after failing to threaten Li Xiaoluo with hostages, he knew that his situation was over, and the only final result would be death, so Sun Xiao's only intention now is to kill people related to Li Xiaoluo, regardless of whether Li Xiaoluo really doesn't care about their life or death, or deliberately pretends not to care. He has to recruit a few people to support him. Don't kill me, Alliance Leader, I am really loyal to you. Seeing that Sun Xiao was really murderous towards him, Li Xiaoyi was so frightened that he couldn't even care about the pain in his ears and immediately expressed his loyalty to Sun Xiao. Li Xiaoyi, if you want to blame Li Xiaoluo. If you are a ghost, go find him too. After saying that, Sun Xiao took the knife in his hand and cut Li Xiaoyi's throat directly. Suddenly, Li Xiaoyi's blood spurted out. Li Xiaoyi struggled to break away from the two people holding him, and then reached out to stop the blood, but he couldn't stop it. Before dying, Li Xiaoyi looked in the direction of Li Xiaoluo. He couldn't understand how his eldest brother Li Xiaoluo, who had been tolerant to him in the past, could be so cruel now and refuse to save him until death. After killing Li Xiaoyi, Sun Xiao looked at Su Xiuxiu at this time. Su Xiuxiu was trembling all over, and a stream of yellow liquid flowed from her legs to the ground. Brother Xialuo, please save me, I am your Xiu. Brother Xialuo, we have been together for so long and have so many beautiful memories, have you forgotten it? When we were young, we went to school together and came home together after school. I remember when I was in junior high school, a boy stopped me with a few people on my way home from school. He said he wanted to be friends with me, but I knew he was the bad student who was hanging out, was naturally unwilling to agree to him, so he wanted to bully me. Then Brother Xiaoluo, you ran over and stood in front of me at that time. You said that I was yours and no one could bully me. Exclamation mark. Later, those bad boys scolded you for overestimating your own abilities and being nosy. There were so many of them, and they threatened to beat you up if you didn't go away. But you kept standing in front of me, and finally got into a fight with them, and you were beaten. Later it was very miserable. 2 teeth were knocked out, but you never begged for mercy, nor did you let them bully me. In the end, those bad boys were afraid of something happening, so they ran away in fear. At that time, I was really touched. Charlotte, you are really a good person. Just when Su Xiuxiu was crying pitifully and playing the emotional card, Sun Xiao stood next to Su Xiuxiu with a knife and did not make a move. In his heart, he also hopes that Su Xiuxiu's performance will be more pitiful, and then Li Xiaoluo can be moved, so that Li Xiaoluo can't bear to see Su Xiuxiu hurt again. In that case, Sun Xiao can also have a chance to survive. However, Li Xiaoluo looked at Su Xiuxiu, who was crying with pear blossoms and rain. If it was in the previous life, if Su Xiuxiu was so pitiful, Li Xiaoluo would have felt compassion for her. After all, sometimes the dog-licking mentality is not so easy to change, but now, Li Xiaoluo just felt sick when he heard it. Damn you, why do you think that everything Su Xiuxiu said was all done by yourself? You, White Lotus, have the nerve to say it? Since you want to play the emotional card, why don't you tell me what you paid for it? However, Li Xiaoluo did not fire anymore. After all, the overall situation was basically determined now, and there was no need to waste any more bullets. As for the finishing work, don't use the cannon fodder you have. Seeing that Li Xiaoluo no longer fired or raised the gun, Sun Xiao and Su Xiuxiu both had a smile on their lips. However, before Sun Xiao and Su Xiuxiu could be happy for a few seconds, Li Xiaoluo made another move. Liu Dazuang, Chen Jianjin, take your people and collect all the weapons on the ground first. Yes, boss. Liu Dazuang and Chen Jianjin had already done this job upstairs, so they took action immediately and took their team to collect all the weapons that Alliance A had thrown on the ground. Those in Li Ge who surrendered behaved quite honestly. In fact, as long as Li Xiaoluo doesn't kill them, in their eyes, there is no difference whether they follow Sun Xiao or Li Xiaoluo. Even if they follow Li Xiaoluo and their status will be lower, as long as they can survive, they will not fight for Sun Xiao. Li Xiaoluo, what are you doing? Didn't we agree to peacefully coexist? Do you really want me to kill Su Xiuxiu? Seeing that Li Xiaoluo would not shoot his men, Sun Xiao acquiesced that Li Xiaoluo planned to negotiate peacefully, but he didn't expect that Li Xiaoluo would let people continue to act, so he could only put the knife on Su Xiuxiu's fair neck again. Li Xiaoluo ignored Sun Xiao's incompetent roar. He looked at the surrendering thugs in Alliance A and said, "Listen to all those who have surrendered in Alliance A, now I will give you a chance to show off. Go and capture Sun Xiao for me, whether you live or die. I won't say whether there will be any rewards for catching Sun Xiao, but I can promise that as long as they perform well and are willing to contribute, I will not kill them. Those who are willing to raise their hands." As soon as Li Xiaoluo finished speaking, all those who surrendered immediately raised their hands. The corners of Li Xiaoluo's mouth raised. In fact, Li Xiaoluo had tried this trick repeatedly, let alone promises and the like. They are worthless in the apocalypse. What's more, Li Xiaoluo only said that he would not kill them, but he did not say that others would not kill them. Chapter 144 Aunt Liu, then you can go with peace of mind. Under siege by 20 or 30 surrendered thugs from Alliance A, their leader Sun Xiao was quickly tied up and several of Sun Xiao's close men were basically dead and injured. As for Su Xiuxiu, she was just stabbed by Sun Xiao because after seeing that Li Xiaoluo really didn't care about Su Xiuxiu's life and death, Sun Xiao stabbed Su Xiuxiu once and had no time to finish the stabbing, but Su Xiuxiu, who had been stabbed, had already shed blood on the ground, although she did not die on the spot. But in such an environment, with cold weather and no medical treatment, Su Xiuxiu was just waiting for death in despair. Liu Dazhuang and his men were very happy to watch the A-League people biting dogs and killing each other with a bus here. The enemies are already killing each other, so there is no need for them to risk their lives anymore. They were all glad that they chose to follow Li Xiaoluo and never thought too carefully. Now the victory belongs to them. The tied-up Sun Xiao and several of his confidants were quickly brought to Li Xiaoluo. "Brother Luo, I surrender. I am willing to bring the entire A-League to submit to you. Don't kill me, Sun." Xiao knelt in front of Li Xiaoluo, and he no longer had the aura of a superior person. Li Xiaoluo was too lazy to pay attention to Sun Xiao. There was no need to waste any time on Sun Xiao now. Li Xiaoluo called Liu Dazhuang and Chen Jianjun, and then asked them to lead their team to tie up everyone who belonged to Alliance A. "Boss Li Xiaoluo, haven't we already helped you arrest Sun Xiao? You said that as long as we are willing to help, you will not kill us." "That's right, Boss Li Xiaoluo, can't you just keep your word?" When they heard that they too were going to be tied up, many of the A-League thugs who were the first to surrender and then desperately tried to capture Sun Xiao suddenly became unwilling. They feel that even if they are so obedient and hard-working, they can't gain your trust immediately, Li Xiaoluo, but they don't have to be tied up as prisoners no matter what, right? Liu Dazhuang on the side looked at Li Xiaoluo's face, and immediately looked at the talking A-League thugs and roared, "FK, how did our boss decide that we need to explain to you losers? Whoever dares to talk nonsense again, we won't just tie you up, we will let you and your piece of shit Alliance leader end up together." After being roared by Liu Dazhuang, no one dared to resist anymore. They thought about it and realized that Li Xiaoluo probably wouldn't kill them all after all. There is no peace in this apocalyptic world. Everyone can only keep fighting for territory and food. It's so dangerous inside the building, not to mention how dangerous it will be in the entire community or outside the community in the future. Although Li Xiaoluo has a gun, he can't do everything himself, right? And Li Xiaoluo's bullets are definitely not unlimited, so as long as he is an ambitious man, who doesn't want to recruit as many soldiers as possible and then dominate one side, so they felt that Li Xiaoluo would not kill them all. And Li Xiaoluo glanced at Liu Dazhuang. This fat man was quite good at observing people's emotions, so there was no need for Li Xiaoluo to talk nonsense. After all the living people in Alliance A were tied up, Li Xiaoluo was about to deal with them. Suddenly the door of a room on this floor was opened, and then a middle-aged woman rushed out of the room. "Xiuxiu, my daughter, don't die, don't leave mom." The middle-aged woman was Su Xiuxiu's mother. She threw herself on Su Xiuxiu's body in a pool of blood and cried heartbreakingly. She only has a daughter, Su Xiuxiu, and she has been raising her like a baby. Now that Su Xiuxiu is about to die, how can she not be sad? "Mom, I'm so cold." Su Xiuxiu's face turned pale, and she felt that her life force was passing away. "Daughter, don't let anything happen to you, otherwise how will mom survive?" Su Xiuxiu suddenly hugged her mother tightly, as if she wanted to feel her mother's arms for the last time. But Su Xiu put her mouth next to her mother's ear. Mom, I am not willing to accept it. It was Li Xiaoluo who caused me to be like this. I also want Li Xiaoluo to die. Mom, after I die, don't make trouble with Li Xiaoluo, and pretend that you don't blame him. Just think that the person who killed me was Sun Zihao, and you can only seek revenge from Sun Zihao. Then, you approached Li Xiaoluo as Li Xiaoluo's elder, lurked around Li Xiaoluo, and looked for opportunities to revenge me. After saying the last sentence in a low voice intermittently, Su Xiu's body became completely cold. There was a cold flash in Su Xiu's mother's eyes, but she quickly returned to normal, and then she cried loudly while holding Su Xiu's body. Xiu, my poor daughter, Sun Zihao, a murderer with 1,000 swords, actually killed a weak woman like you. Don't worry, even if mom dies, she will kill the devil Sun Zihao to avenge you. Li Xiaoluo lit a cigarette. He was not in a hurry anyway, so he quietly watched Su Xiu's mother cry. He did not let anyone deal with her, and he did not take any action himself. Su Xiu's mother cried for a while, and finally seemed to have recovered. She stood up and walked towards Li Xiaoluo. Charlotte, you and my Xiu are a good match, and my aunt is very optimistic about you, but you young people always have your own ideas and like to have conflicts. I don't know how you and Xiu suddenly quarreled. Maybe my aunt has pampered Xiu too much since she was a child, making her too willful to offend you. Happy, but anyway, you and Xiu are also good friends, and our two families have been friends for so many years. Now Xiu has been killed by Sun Zihao. Auntie, I don't ask you for anything else. I just ask you to let me kill him instead. Xiu takes revenge, saying that. Su Xiu's mother plopped down and knelt down in front of Li Xiaoluo, looking at Li Xiaoluo with a pleading face. Liu Giang, friendliness level 0, potential value 9, special ability, none. Life is really like a play, it all depends on acting. Su Xiu's mother is the least friendly person Li Xiaoluo has ever seen, and the lowest level is 0. This shows how much she hates Li Xiaoluo in her heart, but at this time, she regarded herself as an elder, and her face was sincere when she looked at herself, and only when she looked at Sun Zihao, her face showed hatred. Li Xiaoluo can only say that he is worthy of being the director before the end of the world, and his superficial skills are done well. Even if you don't become an actor, it's a waste of talent. Okay, Aunt Liu, you and my mother have been friends for many years, and I should fulfill your little wish. Sun Zihao has been tied up, you can deal with him how you want. Li Xiaoluo was not in a hurry, but looked at Su Xiu's mother with a smile and said. When Su Xiu's mother heard this, her face suddenly showed a look of gratitude, and then she rushed towards Sun Zihao crazily. Sun Zihao died miserably after being clawed and bitten. Charlotte, thank you for recognizing me as Aunt Liu. Woo, Xiu is not with you. It is our Xiu's loss and her life. Charlotte, thank you for letting me avenge Xiu. Even if I die, I can feel at ease. And Liu, then you can go with peace of mind. Chapter 145. The enemies from the previous life have almost been dealt with. Su Xiu's mother's face was filled with gratitude one moment, and a look of horror appeared on her face the next. Charlotte, what do you mean? Until she saw Li Xiaoluo raising the gun in his hand towards her, Su Xiu's mother understood completely without Li Xiaoluo's answer. Su Xiu's mother screamed, Li Xiaoluo, you want to kill me? Your mother and I used to be good sisters. I watched you grow up, and I am half your elder. You actually want to kill me? You are not afraid of thunder, ah? Li Xiaoluo said calmly. Aunt Liu, since Su Xiu is dead, you are no longer helpless and have nothing to worry about in this apocalypse. You still miss Su Xiu and feel sad every day, so I am helping you. Complete relief from this painful day. Su Xiu's mother really wants to send all the unpleasant words she knows to Li Xiaoluo. I'm so grateful. Thank you for helping me like this. But Su Xiu's mother did not dare to scold Li Xiaoluo now. She could only say pitifully, Xiaoluo, I can't die yet. Before she died, Xiu told me to live strong. Aunt Liu doesn't need you to help me out. Bang, Li Xiaoluo shot directly, and then Su Xiu's mother opened her eyes wide in fear, staring at Li Xiaoluo, and soon she lost her breath. Liu Dazhuang and Chen Jianjin on the side were a little confused, and they couldn't figure out the situation for a while. Does my temporary boss have a good relationship with Su Xiuxiu's mother? Or does he have a grudge? Say you have a grudge, but the boss and Su Xiuxiu's mother were very polite when they talked. They didn't quarrel or blame each other. The boss's name is Su Xiuxiu's mother, Aunt Liu, and Su Xiuxiu's mother is also called Li Xialuo. Isn't this a very harmonious scene? But say you have no grudges, how can you shoot someone else's mother just because their daughter is dead? What else can you do to help Su Xiuxiu's mother escape? This help is too great. However, Liu Dazhuang and Chen Jianjun did not dare to ask more questions, but they were more and more in awe of Li Xialuo, and when Li Xialuo looked at the dead Su Xiuxiu, her daughter, and Li Xiaoyi, she felt a little relieved in her heart. Most of the people who hurt him in his previous life have been sorted out now. As for people like Aunt Wang, Li Xiaoluo was too lazy to look for them. If they are not dead now and happen to meet again later, Li Xiaoluo will also teach their mother and son how to behave. If he hadn't met them, Li Xiaoluo wouldn't bother to look for them, so there was no need to waste any time on them. Liu Dazhuang, take some people to the room at Alliance A stronghold and bring everyone out. Whether they are men, women or children, everyone must come out. If anyone dares to resist and disobey, you will take care of it yourself. Yes, boss, don't worry, I promise to complete the task. Liu Dazhuang patted his chest and quickly assured him, now the thugs who joined A are dead, and those who were caught were caught. There may be some women in the room who were captured as slaves, so there is basically no danger. If he can't even complete this task, then he can just go home and lie down waiting to die. After Liu Dazhuang and his team entered the room, Li Xiaoluo ordered Chen Jianjun, take some photos of the dead sons Hihao and the others, as well as the people who tied up Alliance A, and then send all the photos to the owner group. Send a notice to the owner group. From now on, Building A will be my territory. Li Xiaoluo, Chen Jianjun nodded quickly, and then started working according to Li Xiaoluo's instructions, taking photos and sending notifications. After Chen Jianjun's news was released, it immediately caused an uproar among the owners. Some owners naturally knew that Li Xiaoluo and the people from Alliance A were fighting, and they were curiously waiting for the results. Although any survivor in Building A who has not joined Alliance A will be bullied by Alliance A, so everyone actually hopes that Alliance A will be defeated, but intellectually, few people are optimistic about Li Xiaoluo. After all, there are so many thugs in Alliance A. How can they be so easy to deal with? But the survivors who were watching the show in secret did not expect that just a moment later, the leader of Alliance A, Sons Hihao, and his confidants were both dead, and most of the people in Alliance A were arrested. This result is really surprising. Li Xiaoluo, what on earth did he do? The survivors hiding at home were not at the scene, so they naturally had no idea what happened at the scene. But with the death of Sons Hihao, the most powerful Alliance A in this building was wiped out in an instant, which still made some people feel a strong sense of crisis. Inside the owner group, Zhao Xiaobing, hello, boss Xialuo, I am Zhao Xiaobing, the second in charge of Alliance A, but although I am the nominal second in charge of Alliance A, boss Li Xiaoluo, you can just ask anyone in Alliance A. Sons Hihao and I are actually mortal enemies. My second in charge is also an identity randomly given by Sons Hihao. I am in the Alliance, does not have any power, and I have no sense of belonging to Alliance A. The role of my brothers and I is actually to guard the safety of the downstairs for Sons Hihao. In fact, the entire community is now short of supplies, and the survivors in other buildings have begun to try their best to rob them. Occasionally in our building, there will be a shortage of supplies. There were survivors from other buildings who wanted to invade, but we fought hard to drive them away. Boss Li Xiaoluo, my brothers and I are willing to submit to you, and I hope you will allow us to continue to guard the territory downstairs for you. Li Xiaoluo naturally also saw the message posted by Zhao Xiaobing in the group. Li Xiaoluo also heard about the relationship between Zhao Xiaobing's team and Alliance A. In fact, Li Xiaoluo and Zhao Xiaobing were not alarmist about the survivors from other buildings trying to invade this building, because such a thing would definitely happen. The reason why Sons Hihao tolerated Zhao Xiaobing temporarily was because he wanted to use Zhao Xiaobing's people downstairs to block intruders from other buildings for their alliance. In this way, the people of Sons Hihao's Alliance A will not be in danger, nor will they lose any strength, and they can even consume Zhao Xiaobing's men. That's why Sons Hihao is not in a hurry to kill Zhao Xiaobing. In fact, Zhao Xiaobing has always wanted to change this situation, and it would be best to defeat Sons Hihao. Originally, Zhao Xiaobing was still thinking that Li Xiaoluo's trouble with Alliance A this time might be an opportunity if Li Xiaoluo can cause some trouble to Sun Zihao and greatly reduce Sun Zihao's strength, then he might be able to reap the benefits. But Zhao Xiaobing never expected that the victor would be Li Xiaoluo, and judging from the situation, he would completely crush Sun Zihao. Zhao Xiaobing is not stupid, he knows that his manpower is definitely no match for Li Xiaoluo. So he made a prompt decision and expressed his loyalty in front of the group immediately. His demands were not high, as long as Li Xiaoluo could continue to let him occupy the 10 or so floors downstairs. Chapter 146. Is Li Xiaoluo more devilish than the people in Li Ge? However, Zhao Xiaobing's idea is very beautiful, but Li Xiaoluo is not Sun Zihao. Since Li Xiaoluo spent so much time cleaning up the survivors in the entire building today, he will naturally not allow other forces to exist in this building. Even outsiders will not be allowed to exist in the future. In fact, Li Xiaoluo had already thought about what to do when he started. The operation is also very simple, just do the same as at Longting Villa. Solve what needs to be solved and drive away what needs to be driven away. Now that Alliance A has been solved, Zhao Xiaobing and the others can just solve it when the time comes. In the meantime, there is one more thing to do. Li Xiaoluo sent several messages directly to the owner group. At everyone, I am Li Xiaoluo, and I am now issuing a notice. All surviving owners of Building A, please bring your food, warm clothes and other necessary supplies. All residents above the 18th floor must gather on the 18th floor. 18. All the residents below are waiting in the corridor outside their rooms. Attention. Everyone, I only give you 1 hour. After 1 hour, everyone, including women and children, must assemble according to regulations. At that time, I will start from the 35th floor and clear out the survivors hiding in the rooms on each floor. If someone doesn't want to leave home, they will end up like Sun Zihao. The same goes for you, including Zhao Xiaobing. I may need someone to watch the door downstairs, but what I need is an obedient person, not a watchdog who thinks he can bite. So you'd better stay downstairs on your own. Assemble and surrender. Maybe you will still have the chance to guard the door for me. The message that Li Xiaoluo sent to the owner group can be said to be groundbreaking. The owners who were still watching the show suddenly became panicked. Li Xiaoluo asked them to gather downstairs with their food and supplies. He must have wanted to rob them. At this moment, many survivors felt that Li Xiaoluo was as much of a devil as Sun Zihao of Li Ge, even more hateful than Sun Zihao. Sun Zihao wanted their food and supplies, and would have people grab them, but Li Xiaoluo didn't even bother to grab it, and just let them deliver it to his door. It is simply hateful and insulting, but even the powerful alliance was defeated by Li Xiaoluo and Sun Zihao was killed. Who else dares to resist Li Xiaoluo? In fact, not to mention the survivors in the owner group, even Chen Jianjun and his temporary subordinates who followed Li Xiaoluo were at a loss to deal with the message Li Xiaoluo sent in the group, because although Chen Jianjun and the others are now considered to be Li Xiaoluo's people, Li Xiaoluo said in the group that everyone should go downstairs, so are their family members included. Boss, do everyone in our family also need to come down together? Chen Jianjun was also a little confused about the purpose of Boss Li Xiaoluo suddenly issuing such an order just for the food and supplies at the survivors' homes. But isn't my boss short of food? However, Chen Jianjun still didn't dare to neglect. He had to ask his boss whether their family members also needed to come down together. Although he had followed Li Xiaoluo for less than a day, Chen Jianjun had already seen Li Xiaoluo's decisive killing. Chen Jianjun was very sure in his heart that no matter who failed to obey the boss's orders, the end would be the same. Even he or Liu Dazhuang, the captain, did not have any privileges from Li Xiaoluo. Li Xiaoluo looked at Chen Jianjun and had a good impression of this middle-aged man. Li Xiaoluo. Not only is Chen Jianjun's friendship level relatively high, it's almost 70, there are also other aspects, such as Chen Jianjun's calmness, his skill, and his bravery in fights. Others basically wolfed down the food immediately after getting it. But he was the only one who carefully kept the food close to his body. Chen Jianjun even secretly begged Li Xiaoluo, hoping that if he died in the battle, Li Xiaoluo would give the food to his family. In fact, from ancient times to the present, whether in troubled times or prosperous times, there have always been good people and evil-doing people. It's just that in the prosperous times, because there was order, there would be many more kind people and many fewer evil people. But in this apocalyptic world where order has collapsed, it's just the other way around. There will be many more people who will become evil, and there will be many fewer good people who can still maintain their nature, and kind people in the apocalypse often don't end well. But whether he is kind or not is Chen Jianjun's own business, and Li Xiaoluo won't say anything more. And when his kindness met Li Xiaoluo, maybe it wasn't all bad. Because only kind people know how to be grateful, and their friendliness will be high. Because Chen Jianjun still has supernatural talents, Li Xiaoluo will let him live only if he has a high degree of friendship. Even if Li Xiaoluo's team only recruits female players, he will not be allowed to join his team. But if Chen Jianjun's friendship is high in the future, he might be able to develop into a peripheral subordinate and do some chores for Li Xiaoluo. As for the question Chen Jianjun asked, everyone in Chen Jianjun's team actually wanted to ask it, so everyone was nervously waiting for Li Xiaoluo's answer. In fact, in their hearts, they naturally hope that Li Xiaoluo can give them some special treatment. After all, they can be considered Li Xiaoluo's subordinates now, right? Although Li Xiaoluo had told them when recruiting people, they were only recruited temporarily, but sometimes things can change. At that time, they probably had not yet received the approval of boss Li Xiaoluo. But now that they have defeated the people in Li Gai and their performance is okay, they should be recognized by the boss, right? Li Xiaoluo didn't care what everyone was thinking. He looked at Chen Jianjun and nodded. Yes, everyone needs to come down or gather outside the room. However, you are still my people now, so I will remind you one more thing. Ask your family to bring all the food and useful supplies as much as possible. I just asked you to move downstairs. I won't want anything from you, but you will never have the chance to go home and get anything again. After listening to the boss's words, Chen Jianjun and the others suddenly understood something. It turned out that the boss was not interested in the food and supplies in the survivors' homes, but wanted all the survivors in this building to move downstairs. Knowing Li Xiaoluo's final intention, Chen Jianjun felt confident at least Li Xiaoluo doesn't want to kill everyone, nor does he want to take away the food of all survivors, because taking away all the food from the survivors is actually equivalent to indirectly killing all the survivors. As for moving, Chen Jianjun actually doesn't have much ambivalence about it. After all, it's the end of the world. So what kind of home is there? Where's home? As long as the family can be together, wherever they go is home. Boss, can we send a message to our family? After Chen Jianjun knew Li Xiaoluo's intention, he immediately asked Li Xiaoluo for instructions. Li Xiaoluo nodded. Li Xiaoluo naturally agreed to this little thing. As long as their family was willing to move, and Li Xiaoluo was not a murderer, he would naturally not insist on killing everyone. So Chen Jianjun and his team quickly sent a message to their families and asked them to bring all the food and supplies at home before going downstairs. At this moment, Chen Jianjun and the others were very fortunate. Let's not talk about how much reward they could get from following their boss Li Xiaoluo this time, but this piece of inside information can help them reduce a lot of losses, and even save their families' lives, because when other survivors see the message Li Xiaoluo posted in the group, they will definitely think that Li Xiaoluo wants to rob them of their food and supplies. So even if they come down together, some of them won't bring much from home, but then they will regret it. Chapter 147 Chen Jianjun's wife and daughter. After a while, Liu Dazhuang and his men came out with a group of people. Boss, everyone in the room has been brought out. There are 25 people in total, including 22 women and 3 men. These men and women were all captured by the people of Alliance A to serve as their slaves. Li Xiaoluo took a look and saw that most of the 25 so-called slaves were younger women. Since Alliance A is a team of thugs in which men are in power, the treatment of women is naturally not very good. Most of the women are either injured or emaciated from starvation. However, among these 25 people, 2 people caught Li Xiaoluo's attention. One was a woman wearing a white down jacket, with an oval face, a pure appearance, and a gentle and delicate look on her face. She followed Liu Dazhuang nervously, and Liu Dazhuang would secretly glance at the woman from time to time, and then a naive smile appeared on his face. Li Xiaoluo couldn't help but use his exploratory eyes to take a look at this woman. 10. Jingjing, friendliness level 41, potential value 11, special ability, none. This woman had neither a good impression nor hostility towards Li Xiaoluo, but Li Xiaoluo always felt that she saw the shadow of Su Xiuxiu in her, but Li Xiaoluo didn't care. It seemed that her current target was Liu Dazhuang. It depends on how Liu Dazhuang handles it himself. If he still wants to be a licking dog in this apocalyptic world, he will find the end of himself. Another person who caught Li Xiaoluo's attention was a young man, probably in his 20s. Although he was wearing bloody clothes, Li Xiaoluo could tell at a glance that the look on his face did not look like that at all. Like a slave. Yi Xiaoyuang, friendliness level 24, potential value 19, special ability, none. Sure enough, there is a problem then. Li Xiaoluo quickly looked at all the remaining 23 prisoners and found no women with supernatural talents. However, their friendliness is basically above 40, and some even have above 60. After all, Li Xiaoluo saved them, so he would be grateful under normal circumstances. Li Xiaoluo asked Liu Dazhuang to bring 2 thugs from Alliance A who were tied up, and then pointed at the 25 slaves brought out by Liu Dazhuang and said, "You two, look at these people. Are they all slaves you captured?" The eyes of the 2 thugs stayed on Yi Xiaoyuan for a few seconds, and then after meeting Yi Xiaoyuan's eyes, they hesitated and nodded. "Yes, boss, these people are slaves we captured and are here to serve us." That's right. Li Xiaoluo walked up to Yi Xiaoyuan expressionlessly, and then said, "Then tell me, how did the people in Alliance A treat you after they captured you as a slave, and what did they ask you to do every day? Why do I look at you? You seem to be looking pretty good." Yi Xiaoyuan's expression changed slightly, but he quickly calmed down and said quickly, "Brother, it's like this after the people from Li Ge caught me. They didn't give me food at first, and then they beat me every day. They want me to join them and harm ordinary survivors, but I am a graduate of a prestigious university and I am not willing to follow them and help them. Originally, they wanted to kill me when they saw that I wouldn't give in, but then they decided to kill me because I knew how to cook, and my cooking skills were pretty good. So they kept me as their chef, so my food treatment was better than that of ordinary slaves." "Oh, really?" Li Xiaoluo smiled and said nothing more, but Yi Xiaoyuan always felt that the way Li Xiaoluo looked at him made him feel very uncomfortable, as if he was looking at a dead person. This Yi Xiaoyuan is naturally the strategist of Alliance A. His premonition is still very accurate. Before, he always felt that Li Xiaoluo could solve the trouble upstairs so quickly. There must be some trump card that they didn't know, so when Li Xiaoluo led people to fight down, he stayed at the back of the team. Even when Li Xiaoluo fired, he had already quietly ran back to the room. Then he found a pair of old bloody clothes, injured himself a little, and pretended to be an innocent prisoner captured by Alliance A. Maybe Li Xiaoluo will also need talents by then, and he can rely on his high academic qualifications to become a person valued by Li Xiaoluo. But he just casually mentioned his academic qualifications, but Li Xiaoluo didn't react at all. Instead, he looked at him with a look that made him very uncomfortable. Yi Xiaoyuan could only pretend to be calm, hoping that he was overthinking it. The reason why Li Xiaoluo ignored Yi Xiaoyuan was because he didn't have time to deal with him yet. Li Xiaoluo was busy with other things at this time. Li Xiaoluo secretly launched the stealth drone, and then went upstairs to monitor the survivors moving. Of course, Li Xiaoluo didn't care at all whether those survivors would bring their food and supplies with them. The main thing he uses the stealth drone to check is whether anyone doesn't want to carry out his orders. If someone doesn't plan to leave their home, thinking they'll be fine just hiding inside with the door closed, they will soon learn the consequences. Although I will not rob their food or women like the people in Alliance A, nor will I enslave them. But for those who disobey, Li Xiaoluo will still make them have a hard time, and may even kill people. However, Li Xiaoluo sent Sun Zheheo's photos of dead people in the group, which was still very deterrent. Most of the surviving owners basically did not dare to disobey Li Xiaoluo's order. After packing some things, they took their families out to gather on the 18th floor. 25th floor. Zhang Miang and her daughter quickly packed several large bags with food, clothes and other supplies that could be taken away from home, and then the 2 women, one large and one small, carried their things out with difficulty. But at the moment Zhang Miang opened the door to her room, the door to the room opposite her also opened. A middle-aged couple also carried a few small bags in their hands, and then walked out of the room leisurely. "Brother Liu, sister Na." Zhang Miang showed a smile on her face and said hello to the middle-aged couple, but Zhang Miang's daughter frowned and didn't want to call anyone. This middle-aged couple is named Liu Songping and Li Mina. They have been neighbors of Zhang Miang's family for many years. In the past, the conditions of the 2 families were similar, and they were both ordinary workers, so the relationship was still very good. However, this Liu Songping was a late bloomer. He started his own business and became the owner of a small factory when he was in his 40s. Later, his wife Li Mina also opened a restaurant. Both of them had a pretty good business and earned as much money as they did. The conditions for starting Zhang Miang's family are getting better and better. Although the 2 did not say anything on the surface, their usual behavior showed that they were slowly alienating Zhang Miang's family, and even looked down upon Zhang Miang's family. However, showing off in front of Zhang Miang's family is their favorite thing to do. After the apocalypse came, Liu Songping and Li Mina were lucky enough to stock up on a lot of food. The reason why Zhang Miang's daughter didn't want to pay attention to Liu Songping and Li Mina was because after the end of the world, Liu Songping and Li Mina privately showed off in front of her parents that they had a lot of food at home, but when her father went to beg them to borrow some food, they didn't borrow a grain of rice. As a result, their family almost starved to death, and today her father Chen Jianjun also had to go out for adventure. Of course, the most irritating thing is that Liu Songping and Li Mina's family didn't lend a grain of rice to Chen Jianjun's family, but when people from Alliance A came to ask for food, they obediently offered a lot of food. However, Zhang Miang does not blame Liu Songping and Li Mina. After all, it is their freedom whether to borrow food or not, and it is also their freedom to give their food to whomever they want. Xialuo, didn't your Chen Jianjun go to work as Li Xialuo's subordinate? Why do you still need to hand over supplies? And you still take so many things, Li. Mina now smiles warmly at Zhang Miang. When Chen Jianjun came to work for Li Xialuo, they were still calling Chen Jianjun a fool at home, but the couple never dreamed that Li Xialuo would suddenly become the master of this building. Then Chen Jianjun's status is naturally higher than them now. That's why they want to restore a good neighbor relationship with Zhang Miang. It would be nice to know some inside information in the future, Zhang Miang thought for a while and then said to Li Mina, Sister Na, my Chen Jianjun told me to take all the useful supplies from home. Sister Na, you'd better. Chapter 148. This is amazing. Li Mina smiled and interrupted Zhang Miang, haha, Xiaoying, I always thought that your Chen Jianjun was an honest man, but I didn't expect that he would be flattering now. He asked you to bring everything from home, just to honor that Li Xiaoluo, right? But with your little supplies, others may look down upon you. As for our family, we really don't have any extra food or supplies. I have everything in my hands. As for Li Mina's husband, Liu Songping, stood aside and said nothing, but he did not show the same contempt for Chen Jianjun's family as before. Now Chen Jianjun is following Li Xiaoluo. Before the situation becomes clear, he doesn't dare to stand high in front of Zhang Miang and others like before. As for what Zhang Miang said, take all the supplies at home and hand them over, only a fool would do it. Liu Songping and his wife had the same idea. Chen Jianjun wanted to flatter her and handed over all the supplies at home. But they are not fools, so they would not do such stupid things. When I took the initiative to hand over half of the food to the people of Alliance A, they had been heartbroken for a long time because at that time, I thought that the people from League A would give them some preferential treatment or privileges, but there was nothing. Even because they are older, they are not even qualified to join their league. Now that someone else is in charge of this building, Liu Songping and his wife will no longer be obedient and take the initiative to hand over the things at home. Zhang Miang saw that Liu Songping and his wife didn't listen to her reminder, and she didn't care either. With the current relationship between the two families, she could only remind them of this, which would be regarded as the most benevolent and righteous thing to do. Soon, the time specified by Li Xiaoluo for the survivors was almost up, and some survivors began to come to the 18th floor from upstairs one after another. The survivors who are still alive are basically women or half-grown children, or middle-aged men and women. The elderly are basically not seen, and most of these survivors basically have one characteristic, that is, they are very thin, and some of them are even so hungry that only skin and bones are left. Of course, there are also a very small number of people who are still as hungry and thin as they were before the end. Then, when one after another survivors arrived on the 18th floor, they immediately saw blood and corpses all over the ground, and everyone's bodies couldn't help but tremble with fear. This is the 18th floor. It's almost like the 18th floor of hell. Won't they be killed too? The survivors who arrived on the 18th floor suddenly didn't dare to make a sound. They all stood obediently in the corner. Both Zhang Miang and her daughter saw Chen Jianjun following Li Xiaoluo, but they did not dare to say hello to Chen Jianjun. The survivors after the apocalypse have basically learned to be cautious, but when Chen Jianjun saw his wife and daughter, his eyes shone brightly, especially when he looked at the thin bodies of his wife and daughter. He knew that they were in urgent need of food now. Boss, my wife and daughter have come down. Can I go and deliver some food to them? Li Xiaoluo nodded. Okay, just ask your wife and daughter to come over. We are not an army and there are not so many rules. Thank you, boss. Chen Jianjun said gratefully, and then quickly waved for Zhang Miang and her daughter to come over. Boss, this is my wife Zhang Miang, and this is my daughter Chen Lele. Then, Chen Jianjun quickly introduced Li Xiaoluo to Zhang Miang and her daughter. In fact, he didn't need to say it. Who in this building doesn't know that his boss is called Li Xiaoluo? Li Xiaoluo glanced at Chen Jianjun's wife Zhang Miang and daughter Chen Lele. Zhang Miang was a very kind middle-aged woman, and Chen Lele looked more delicate in her teens. Chen Jianjin's daughter is much more beautiful than him, and she doesn't resemble his genes at all. Zhang Miang and her daughter Chen Lele were very reserved and did not dare to say anything after saying hello to Li Xiaoluo, but other survivors were envious of Zhang Miang and Chen Lele being able to show their faces in front of Li Xiaoluo, especially Liu Songping and his wife. Their hearts are very unbalanced. Before the end, they had looked down on Chen Jianjin's family from the bottom of their hearts. Although they were neighbors, they were no longer in the same class even after the apocalypse. Liu Songping and his wife lived a relatively comfortable life, but Chen Jianjin and his family almost starved to death, so the post-apocalyptic world is also incomparable to them. But suddenly, the status of Chen Jianjin's family was higher than theirs, which made Liu Songping and his wife feel really uncomfortable. After all, Chinese people are like this. Many people like to compare with those around them. No matter how many people there are with money and status, it won't matter, but if anyone gets along well among neighbors, he will definitely be jealous of others. Although this phenomenon occurs more in rural areas, it does not mean that it does not exist among urban people. But then something happened that made Liu Songping and his wife even more jealous. Chen Jianjin took out 2 infinite chicken drumsticks from his body and handed them to his wife and daughter. "Yeah, big chicken legs." The little girl Chen Lele looked at the chicken drumstick in her hand and couldn't help but exclaimed, "This surprise is really big. Dad, have you eaten?" Chen Lele swallowed, but did not tear open the package immediately, but looked at Chen Jianjin with a serious face. Chen Jianjin smiled. "This is what the boss gave me. Of course I have eaten it. This is specially reserved for you and your mother. Please eat it quickly." But how could Zhang Miang on the side not know her husband's character? After he has food, he will definitely not eat it himself first, but Zhang Miang didn't say anything. She put away the package of chicken legs in her hand, and then tore open the package in Chen Lele's hand. Then she divided the chicken into 3 portions that the whole family could eat. Chen Jianjin looked at his wife and smiled, did not refuse, and started eating happily. The survivors who had just come downstairs looked at Chen Jianjin's family eating and drinking, and all of them suddenly wanted to curse. Why did they have to watch this kind of scene when they came here? It was so torturous. Many people even regretted it extremely much. If only they had gone upstairs to seek refuge with Li Xiaoluo before. After Chen Jianjin's family finished eating, Li Xiaoluo looked at the time. His allotted time has come. "Everyone, you are all very good, and you are very lucky to have come down at the time I specified. But there are also some people who are not very obedient. Liu Dazuang, take people to room 1905 and room 2306, and bring down those who are disobedient and hiding." "Okay, boss." Liu Dazuang was stunned when he heard Li Xiaoluo's order. How did the boss know which owner had not gone out? This is so amazing. Chapter 149, 10 minutes of free time. Liu Dazuang obeyed Li Xiaoluo's order and led his team upstairs immediately. Not long after, Liu Dazuang and the others came back, and they also detained several men who had been beaten with bruises and swollen faces. However, the eyes of Liu Dazuang and his team were full of surprise when they looked at boss Li Xiaoluo. After they went upstairs, they found the survivors hiding in the 2 rooms. The boss mentioned the boss is really amazing, isn't he? Not only Liu Dazuang and the others were surprised, but their boss Li Xiaoluo became more and more mysterious. Those survivors who chose to go downstairs were extremely lucky at this moment. Fortunately, they chose to listen to Li Xiaoluo's words and did not hide at home with any luck. Liu Dazuang brought the men he caught upstairs to Li Xiaoluo. "Boss, what should we do with these disobedient people, boss?" "Li Xiaoluo, don't kill me. I didn't see the notice you sent to the owner group because my phone was broken. I really didn't mean to be disobedient." "Yes, boss Li Xiaoluo, I didn't see the notice you posted in the group. In order to preserve my strength, I have been lying at home and sleeping." Seeing the blood and corpses all over the floor on the 18th floor, the survivors captured by Liu Dazuang were frightened. No matter why they didn't listen to Li Xiaoluo's words, they are now racking their brains to find a reasonable excuse. "Shit, your phone just happened to be broken? Take out your phone and let me take a look." Liu Dazuang was a little unconvinced and planned to check the first speaker's phone. The man suddenly showed a trace of panic on his face, but Li Xiaoluo waved his hand to Liu Dazuang. Why is the fat man so serious? No matter what excuses these people make, they actually treat Li Xiaoluo the same way, so Li Xiaoluo didn't even bother to waste time on them. Seeing Li Xiaoluo stop Liu Dazuang, The man's face suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. Li Xiaoluo first checked the personal information of all survivors, then Li Xiaoluo looked at Liu Dazhuang and said, "Those of them who did not come down within the stipulated time, no matter what the reason, must be punished later. Let them be responsible for carrying the corpses upstairs to the first floor." Liu Dazhuang, you sent someone's supervision. The task must be completed today. The reason why Li Xiaoluo did not pursue them was because he wanted to reuse their remaining value. Moreover, they didn't bring anything with them. Even if Li Xiaoluo didn't kill them, their life would be very difficult in the future. As for carrying the body downstairs, this matter must be carried out, and it is also one of the reasons why Li Xiaoluo wants to clean up the entire building, because Li Xiaoluo knew that the body would be fine no matter how long it was left under the extreme low temperature of the current ice disaster. But after the ice disaster is over, the temperature will rise, and these corpses will definitely not be left in the building by then. Therefore, Li Xiaoluo's operation this time was not only to clean up the survivors, but also to clean up all the corpses in this building. Otherwise he would not be able to be here at all in the future. In fact, there are many ways to get the body downstairs, but Li Xiaoluo chose the most difficult one, which is to carry it manually. In fact, it can be regarded as a kind of punishment. Of course, there are many corpses in this building, and Li Xiaoluo will definitely not let just a few of them carry them. It would be so exhausting that they wouldn't be able to finish the move. There are many free coolies. For example, when we went down to the 18th floor to fight against Alliance A, some people who were timid and cowed appeared. There shouldn't be any more fighting in the future, so they don't need to be vanguard death squads anymore. So let's punish them for carrying corpses, and the thugs who surrendered in Alliance A can also be used as waste. Of course, for the thugs from Alliance A, Li Xiaoluo will still implement his usual style and kill a group of people first. Of course, there is no need for Li Xiaoluo to do it himself. He can just leave it to the women captured by Alliance A, or the survivors at the scene. Li Xiaoluo didn't believe that no one wanted to take revenge because the A-League had made the whole building full of complaints these days. Sure enough, when Li Xiaoluo announced that he would give everyone 10 minutes, anyone could deal with the surviving thugs from Alliance A as they pleased. Immediately, many people's faces showed excitement. Although the thugs from Alliance A had only controlled this building for a few days, they had visited almost every house and committed crimes. It's just that some owners' families have suffered much more severe injuries, while some families may have suffered less harm. After all, even Sun Zhihao of the A-League did not want to go too far for the time being, for fear of arousing public anger and everyone joining forces to resist him. But after all, those who do things are people under Sun Zhihao, and as long as they are human, they will have their own emotions and desires. Especially in the end of the world, when order is lost, the distortion of human nature will be infinitely magnified. For example, Alliance A stipulated that each household should hand over half of the food, but when people under Sun Zhihao implemented it, they might take half of the food from the survivors' homes and then take the opportunity to eat and drink themselves. If some survivors don't have much food at home, then the survivors will naturally have to fight tooth and nail to resist, and those who dare to resist will definitely be beaten or killed. Or maybe the thugs from Alliance A will tease someone whose wife is beautiful, or they will directly seize the base to serve them. Regarding these incidents, when the people in Alliance A were still in power, most people could only choose to swallow their anger, but now the people in Alliance A are prisoners, and they can do whatever they want. If they don't dare to take revenge, are they still men? It hurts me to death. Please spare me. It was the Alliance leader who asked me to rob your family of food and kill your old man. After Li Xiaoluo gave him 10 minutes of free time, a few men stood up first and then found the A-League thugs. They had always remembered someone took the lead, and more survivors began to run to vent their anger on the Tide thugs. Even if there is no revenge for killing husbands and seizing wives, who has not been robbed of food by thugs from Alliance A, soon, even the rescued women finally knew that Alliance A was really doomed, and they also joined the ranks of crazy revenge. Liu Dazhuang also found some of the A-League thugs who bullied him and beat them up severely. Jingjing, are you afraid that beating these beasts will dirty your hands? Then tell me who has bullied you, and I will help you kill them. Liu Dazhuang saw that many women were seeking revenge, but Tan Jingjing stood aside without moving, so he immediately stepped forward and asked with concern. A trace of uneasiness flashed across Tan Jingjing's face, but she recovered quickly, and then said gently, Brother Dazhuang, thank you for your kindness, but I have already planned to forget what happened before, so I don't want to mention anything about it again. I don't want to face those people anymore. Liu Dazhuang quickly comforted him. It's okay, it's okay. What you did is right, and you don't need to take action. Anyway, there are people to deal with these beasts. Just when the 10 minutes were about to expire, 3 women suddenly ran up to Li Xiaoluo. They pointed at Ye Xiaoyuang and said, "Li Xiaoluo, boss, he is not a slave of Alliance A at all, nor is he a chef. Don't be deceived by him. His name is Ye Xiaoyuang, and he is the strategist of Alliance A. He is the one who has many ideas for bullying survivors. I figured it out." Chapter 150. The reward the 3 women of Meng Jiajia want, thanks to the Zaishan gang. Long Zaishan for the reward. Bang, bang. After several gunshots, Li Xiaoluo shot Ye Xiaoyuang directly, as well as the 2 thugs who had repeatedly confirmed that Ye Xiaoyuang was a slave. In fact, Li Xiaoluo knew that there was something wrong with Ye Xiaoyuang, and he could kill him without any reason before. However, Li Xiaoluo used the drone to monitor the survivors upstairs, allowing them to live for a few more minutes. Now that someone has revealed his identity, Li Xiaoluo naturally has no reason to keep them anymore. It just happens to be to establish his authority in front of the survivors who came down behind us. For Ye Xiaoyuang being a highly educated talent, it is of no use to Li Xiaoluo. Li Xiaoluo's team does not need any highly educated and outstanding talents. In Li Xiaoluo's view, in addition to people with supernatural talents, as long as they are loyal and obedient, they are outstanding talents. Of course, the prerequisite is that you are a woman. Li Xiaoluo looked at the 3 women who reported Ye Xiaoyuang. They were all in their 20s. Although they were not great beauties, they were still young and beautiful. Meng Jiajia, friendship level 65, potential value 18, special ability, none. Subconsciously, Li Xiaoluo used his exploratory eyes to look at the information of these 3 women. In fact, he has checked the information of everyone here before, just in case he finds any special talents. However, there were many people there before, so Li Xiaoluo didn't remember their personal information, and the friendliness level was constantly changing. So since these 3 women have attracted Li Xiaoluo's attention, they naturally need to take another look. You 3 dared to stand up and expose Ye Xiaoyuang's identity, and you performed well. Tell me, what reward do you want? Food, supplies, or other rewards can be offered. The friendliness of the 3 women was pretty good, so Li Xiaoluo decided to give these 3 women a little reward as a superior. It is natural that rewards and punishments should be clearly defined. Although Li Xiaoluo has not regarded anyone here as a real subordinate, he may still need to deal with these people in the future, so he also sets an example for these people. Those who have made merit will be rewarded by themselves. The 3 women headed by Meng Jiajia looked at each other and then let Meng Jiajia speak on behalf of them. Boss, we don't want rewards, we want to follow you, is that okay? Meng Jiajia and the others looked at Li Xiaoluo expectantly. Meng Jiajia and the other 3 people actually knew each other before the end. They were all white-collar workers working in the company before the end, and then they rented a house together. When the thugs from Alliance A saw that they only had 3 young girls at home and not even a man, they robbed everything in their home, including the people. They were really scared at that time, thinking that if there was a man at home, they would not be bullied at will. But after being captured at the Alliance stronghold, Meng Jiajia and the others discovered that the men at home were just as useless. Some of the women who were captured as slaves along with them had husbands who did not dare to resist, and some who resisted were killed by the Alliance thugs. Got it? Therefore, men without strength cannot defend women at all in the apocalypse, and are no match for those gangs of thugs. After these days of experience, Meng Jiajia and the others understand clearly the cruelty of the last days, especially women. If they want not to be enslaved, they must either become extremely powerful themselves or find a powerful backer. You all want to follow me? Li Xiaoluo was stunned for a moment. Before, he had forced people to accept them, but no woman offered to follow him. Meng Jiajia and the other 3 women nodded vigorously. Li Xiaoluo thought for a while. Liu Dazhuang and Shen Jianjun here were just temporary employees hired by Li Xiaoluo, and they were actually equivalent to cannon fodder. Of course, we can't actually say that they are cannon fodder. Compared with the cannon fodder of Wu Yufang at Longting Villa, people like Liu Dazhuang and Shen Jianjun are much luckier. Although Li Xiaoluo regarded them as cannon fodder, he actually regarded them as an employment relationship. As long as they complete the tasks assigned by Li Xiaoluo, Li Xiaoluo will give them a certain reward, and he will not try to kill them like he did to Wu Yufang and the others. Liu Dazhuang and Shen Jianjun were hired by Li Xiaoluo with money to do things. Li Xiaoluo would not burn bridges. Therefore, there is a difference between Liu Dazhuang and Shen Jianjun and cannon fodder. After all the dangerous and heavy work is done later, Li Xiaoluo will terminate the employment relationship with Liu Dazhuang and Chen Jianjun. The rules of Li Xiaoluo's team will not change, and no men will be recruited, and he won't be able to support so many people now. So here, Li Xiaoluo really wants to recruit some people of his own. However, there are many more survivors here than at Longting Villa, and there are also many more women. Therefore, Li Xiaoluo will have stricter requirements for women who can join his Taoyuan collar, but it doesn't matter. You can set up an evaluation period, just like there was a probation period before working in a company. Unqualified women will be eliminated when the time comes. As for Meng Jiajia and the others, their friendliness is up to standard, and that's enough for the time being. So Li Xiaoluo looked at the three women Meng Jiajia and said, "Okay, you three have quite some ideas and courage. I'll give you a chance to follow me, but let's make an agreement first. Those who follow me need to obey my orders. Even if I ask you to kill, you must kill. And I will also provide you with food and safety." Meng Jiajia and the others showed joy on their faces. Food and safety, aren't they the most precious things in the apocalypse? Boss, we know, we must be obedient. Meng Jiajia and the others immediately assured. Li Xiaoluo said, "You are different from them. Don't call me boss, call me lord from now on. Also, you have a 1-month evaluation period. If any of you performs poorly, I will eliminate her. Lord, if you are eliminated, will you be killed?" Li Xiaoluo shook his head. "That's not true, just kicking me out of my team. But if you are really eliminated, you will regret it for the rest of your life." Meng Jiajia and the other two people must still not be able to understand the feeling of being eliminated by Li Xiaoluo and regretting it for the rest of their lives, but after hearing that being eliminated is not death, they have no worries at all. When they saw Meng Jiajia and the other three successfully becoming Li Xiaoluo's people, many people were immediately moved. Some women and even many men came over and begged to join, but Li Xiaoluo said directly, "We are not recruiting people for the time being." Then Li Xiaoluo began to put Liu Dazhuang's team in charge of supervising those who needed to be punished, and began to move the bodies one by one, while he led the others downstairs from the 18th floor to the 17th floor. There are already several survivors of the owners on the 17th floor, and they are waiting at the door with food. After seeing Li Xiaoluo, they immediately smiled humbly and wanted to dedicate the food in their hands to Li Xiaoluo, but Li Xiaoluo just said lightly, "Take what you have in your hands and follow us." Then came to the 16th floor. Li Xiaoluo glanced at the waiting survivors, and then said to Chen Jianjun, "The people in room 1609 haven't come out. Go and arrest them all. Then hand them over to Liu Dazhuang and ask them to carry the bodies as well." Chen Jianjun was stunned for a moment. Did the boss know that someone was hiding in that room? How did the boss do it? The group of people following Li Xiaoluo also opened their eyes wide, feeling incredible and magical. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.